Welcome to Finland and welcome to round 3 of the Drift Masters Championship, where we are in, and I mean this literally, a theme park, the Power Park in Huvivaltio in Finland, where we have sold out. His place is absolutely packed to the rafters, standing room only, as we await the top 16, and the best in the business are getting warmed up for what is going to be an epic encounter. My name is Dave Egan. I'm going to be joined by my good friend Ian Waddington to talk you through all of the action, and action is exactly what we got promised coming up.
Yeah, we certainly have, Dave. The place is packed out, and so is the top 16 grid. Heavy hitters after heavy hitters is what we've got coming up this afternoon, but we see some heavy hitters hit that wall on outside zone 2 earlier in top 32, and you can see there Conor Shanahan discussing about how that feels, how the track is. End of top 32, when it started to dry out, then the rain came again and completely soaked the circuit in the break. It's unpredictable, it's sketchy, who knows what's going to happen.
And it's massive for the championship. If you don't get it right here, your championship hopes can go away very, very fast. Most of the drivers saying when it's dry, it is the best track on the calendar. When it's wet, it's absolutely undrivable. Well, here's where we've been and here's where we're going. We went to Valencia in Spain. It was Kevin Pesur from Estonia getting the win. Then James Deane, the machine, came back in Ireland to win his home event. We're now in Finland. We then head on August 2nd and 3rd to Riga, Latvia. It's Riga, baby, one of the fastest and most dangerous tracks on the calendar. And returning to the calendar is Mariupol in Hungary on August 23rd and 24th. Then the biggest drift event in the world, 60,000 pack out Warsaw and the PGA Narodowie for the big final in Poland. And here is who wants to be there, standing on top of that podium right now on his home track. Lauri Heinonen holds down that lead, but he's got a lot of drivers coming for it, like Duane, McKeever, Oren Nielsen, Pesur, and James Deane, who missed the first round, is in 5th in the championship. And if you're outside of that top 5 right now, well, this is your last chance this season to get into that top 5 before they pull away. Ian, a lot on the line here.
Well, let's take a look. Yeah, there's a lot on the line, but let's take a look at the driver's presentation. Incredible scenes. The place was on fire. It was electric. The atmosphere, well, the hairs were standing up on the back of your arms, Dave, as these guys came out on track. And the hometown heroes got the biggest cheer of all. And as the national anthem rang out around the circuit, Dave, there was some teary eyes out there from some of these drivers who knew that they could do it today in front of that home crowd and get that win and show everyone what it means to them and their country.
Well, the Finnish fans want a Finnish driver on top step of the podium. They've got 4 chances. A quarter of the top 16 are Finnish drivers. They've got a good chance with Lauri Heinonen already leading the championship. It was Kato-san from Liberty Walk leading them out in the parade. It was a real international affair. We had obviously Adam LZ, the first American ever to make the top 16 in Drift Masters, and he got a huge ovation from the local fans here. They've said they've never seen anything quite like it. The fans, the energy, the ability to raise those games is what we're all going to be looking for here, as the track is difficult. There is going to be crashes, there is going to be thrills, there is going to be big upsets, and you're going to have to strap in for the ride. Get to the edge of your seat, because it's the only part of it you're going to need for the next 2 hours as we try and decide who's going to take it here in Finland. As you can see, the fans giving every driver a big pump up, because they want to see the best driving. If you want to beat the best, you got to do it on track, and they know their Finnish drivers are up against it here. And as I said, the rain has left. Now the track will start to dry. We may predict dry battles by the end of the top 16, but can you survive to it? Can you get through in the meantime? Because we saw a lot of big drivers end up in that wall.
They certainly did, Dave, and right now is at the point of the track that we see yesterday in qualifying, where it's almost unpredictable. Let's talk about what happened in top 32. Conor Shanahan, well, he made his way off the line, a solo battle, as we see here. Fluid falling from the back of Oliver Randelou's BMW meant that he couldn't get to the line in the 2 minutes allocated. He was out of competition with 20 seconds. Conor Shanahan gets a buy through into the top 16, but he'll face off against a local legend, a man that everyone was cheering for, Mika Keski-Korpi.
Oh, I mean, it was knife-edge stuff. Everyone was trying their best, and when the track was dry, everybody looked comfortable. But again, mechanical failures, cars letting drivers down, the war of attrition as we head into the 3rd round, where these cars were pushed to the absolute limits. And as I said, they're patching up mistakes and problems now. They're not fixing them correctly. Will those machines last another top 16? That's going to be the question. You can see it here. It was youngster Etesada almost taking down Duane McKeever, who's sitting top 3 in the championship, but McKeever held strong and got himself a spot in the main event.
Yeah, he certainly did, and McKeever had to come back swinging to this one, where I probably thought it was going to be a walk in the park when he sat in the paddock earlier on today, looking at that driver's list, thinking, Etesada, well, he hasn't made a move in the championship. He's not really proved himself this year, but today he proved himself, and he asked Duane McKeever the question, are you the best? Can you beat me? And he did, and took the win and went through to the top 16. Then the rain started to fall. The second half of our top 16, top 32, sorry, had this incredible wet weather. James Deane was on a knife edge, but he got it done perfectly. Unfortunately for Clint van Aert, the Dutchman, he just couldn't get air, and he couldn't deal with those wet weather conditions and almost shut the car down in the middle of the circuit.
Yeah, I mean, at times James Deane looked like he was on slow motion. The car had no grip whatsoever. You can see Clint van Aert. There isn't a rear end of a car left in one piece at this point from this track, but they're pushing super hard. It was the local hero. Look at that. Timo Peltola couldn't get out of the corner. Just got stuck with no traction whatsoever in that Mercedes diesel, and it was enough to knock him out of competition.
Yeah, it certainly was. And Duane and Kvia, another Scandinavian, the Norwegian, made it through and now starts to look on form. But this is where it all started going wrong for a lot of the drivers. Adam Zalewski, the former champion, got it wrong in front of the hometown heroes crowd. Another guy that the crowd are cheering for. Jylhä absolutely nailed it. Incredible driving, but he was lucky. Zalewski spun out, gave him the win.
Yeah, we talked about it, that these shorter cars, the GT86s, GR86s, have to put so much of their rear wheel to the wall as opposed to the longer cars, and that's what happened here. A 16-year-old youngster, Conor Falvey, he actually tumbled into Piskorski, but Piskorski hit the wall first, meaning he bounced back out, giving Falvey the win. But it goes to show how aggressive you've got to be in the short car with the small overhang to be in that outer zone, and I think that's going to be really tricky in the rain, especially for our first battle. You're going to see Conor Shanahan have to negotiate the wet for the first time today.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's going to take on Mika Keski-Korpi, and he's going to have all of the hometown fans screaming his name, wheeling him around the circuit. They won't want to see Conor Shanahan on the podium. They'll want to see three Finnish drivers up there, and Absolutely. They'll blow the roof off the place tonight. Well,
Mika Keski-Korpi's been looking strong. He's got the home fans behind him, and he goes up against 2023 champion Shanahan. However, Shanahan has been tested. He did, we had a bye run against Oliver Randalou from Estonia in the top 32, with Randalou not making the line in time, meaning Shanahan has kind of been on his own all day. Now he's got to put it on in very tough conditions.
He certainly has, and who knows what that track condition is like out there. Those guys went out for the top 16 parade, but as you just said to me when you came back from that parade, it's warm outside. It isn't cold. There's a breeze in the air. That means that track will dry quickly. Will it be patchy? Will it be dangerous? Well, of course it will. We've seen it so far this weekend, and you can see the water where it runs across the circuit.
Yeah, well, I went down for a little look at it, and it shows there's so much rubber laid at the edge of the track that it doesn't have to water through. It's just sitting there. Well, here's the track they're going to try and negotiate. First, second, third gear, full-on flick into the first corner. And what's beating it? Well, it's a big immovable concrete wall that you got to get the rear of the car into that outer zone, run it all the way through that zone. That's going to be where it's make or break in the wet. Then transition through these two apexes, build the speed as you go to another wall run on the left-hand side of the circuit. Then it's down a hill, over a bump, into another zone. Keep your front wheels outside those three white marks, and then into a banked corner. Why not? To finish off the run, you got to go up the bank, rear end of the car to the wall, and hope you survive, because it is going to be survival of the fittest in this top 16.
It certainly is, Dave. A survival of the fittest and a survival of the cars, a survival of the mental state of these drivers. And there we go. We can see Conor Shanahan down on the circuit, warming up the tyres on the back of that GT86. Will he be feeling confident? I don't think any one of these drivers are feeling confident. I think now it's just all about making it
Well,
through.
I'm going to put it out there and say that, as far as I'm aware, Conor Shanahan qualifying first will lead this battle in, which is actually what you don't want to do, because you're the one that's testing the conditions for the first time. Here's how it's shaping up. As you can see, Conor Shanahan takes on the Finnish driver Mika Keski-Korpi, McKeever versus Correia, LZ versus Hartman, Jack Shannon versus Zakouril, Pöytälaakso against Pesur, James Deane versus Duane and Kvia, Lauri, Heinonen, championship leader, goes up against fellow Finn Jarkko, Jylhä, and Conor Falvey goes up against Benediktas Čirba to round out that top 16. In an hour's time, we'll have 8 left, and then we'll see who go to take the 3 steps on the podium. And whoever does it today in the mixed conditions will deserve it.
I certainly will deserve it, Dave, and whoever stands on that podium, I'm sure will be thinking this could be the year. A lot of them do, and we've had 2 different winners at 2 different rounds. Could we make it 3 for 3? Well, it's almost time to find out. As you can see, Shanahan pulling to the line. It's almost time to get the business end of the deal underway, Dave.
Yeah, well, I've been looking forward to this. I know it's going to be tricky. I know it's going to be sketchy, and I know we're going to have to hold our breath, but it's fascinating. It's edge of your seat. It's tension, and there's championship hopes on the line. That's what we came here for. Time for talk is over. Time for walking is here. We are ready for our top 16. 2023 champion Conor Shanahan will kick off a sketchy, slippery surface. And I think the advantage here is to the local driver, Mika Keski-Korpi. He's in the chase. He can wait to see what Shanahan does. And if the first person makes the mistake and leads the chase car in, well, they're going to get all the blame. Shanahan has got to be inch perfect here, but nobody's been inch perfect. It's luck of the draw. We saw Kuba Pishkonsky go in the wall in a GR86 and saying it's a lottery. Halfway through that first corner, there is no grip. The drivers are just going to have to hope and pray they can make it through.
Yeah, it's a roll of the dice, Dave, right now. These guys, what setup are they running? Kevin O'Connell, one of the head judges, not the head judge for this event, said to me earlier on, it is a roll of the dice. What setup do they use? Do they go for full dry? Do they go for full wet? Well, we're about to find out who has got what it takes to make it through to the Grade 8. They're through the chicane, through the gears they come, down towards the start line, and a big flick from Keski-Korpi. He goes early on the initiation. Shanahan takes it early. Precarious, sorry. He doesn't get to that wall. Look at Keski-Korpi, he's deeper into that zone. Now he starts to find it, looking for the side of that GT86. And they're both wandering and wavering ever so slightly. Keski-Korpi now transitions. Oh, and he has to stall up before making contact on Shanahan. The separation opens up. They now start to come back down the hill. This is where they can carry the pace. But Keski-Korpi in that chase position is doing a good job to keep nice and close to Shanahan as he transitions back to the second to last outside zone. Keski-Korpi goes for it, looks for the wall. Oh, and he tags it.
Yeah, big hit from Keski-Korpi. He kind of tried to dive on Shanahan, caught a ton of grip, and it fired him into the wall. I think that's a very safe run from Conor Shanahan. You can see that is why he was champion last year. Look how tentative he is here. He took no risks on angle on that wall, but he got the entire zone. He knew that it was all about being precise. It wasn't about taking any risks. And right there, look at that perfect line from both drivers. Keski-Korpi actually hitting the wall a couple of times as they go through. Now watch this from Shanahan. How he transitions back here. This is good, but he misses this inner zone quite dramatically to get himself into this outer zone. So he sacrificed one. Keski-Korpi doing a pretty good job of chasing him down throughout the course. To be honest, no major errors, which I expected from one driver or other. But then there is one, just one at the end, where Keski-Korpi barrels into the wall and makes a big mistake just as they're coming to the finish line. Watch this, takes that narrow line, washes a little too high, and then bang, hits the wall, and it's almost fully straight coming across the finish line. Now, I'm not saying that's going to decide the battle, but it's going to be a factor.
It certainly is going to be a factor, Dave, and judges will be taking a look at everything into this, and they've said that they're being lenient on some of these guys in the weather conditions because they know it's tricky, they know they're struggling. We now swap them around, we're back on the line, Keski-Korpi to lead out Shanahan, and now this is where the spotters will really come into play, feeding the drivers information, what they need to do, how far to get close. Do they get on the door? Do they keep away? Well, we'll find out right now. Through the chicane they go. Keski-Korpi goes for it right across the track. He's going for a big flick initiation. Maybe he wants to carry a little bit more speed for Shanahan, and he does. And Shanahan had to think about that for a second. As Keski-Korpi shallows up the angle, he's going to try and drive away for Shanahan. He's going to try and avoid putting the back end into that wall, but Shanahan deals with it. Up close and personal onto the door. Shanahan's got himself in the wrong part of the circuit, though, and Keski-Korpi now makes a real nice line into the outside zone as he comes down. Shanahan's still onto the back bumper, though, as they transition through. Front wheel perfectly on the line for Keski-Korpi. This is nice lead line for the Finnish driver. But Shanahan opens the door and takes a step in and gets onto the door.
Oh, it's almost like watching slow motion drifting, but it's so tense. You can see Keski-Korpi having a lot of wobbles on that first corner. He had a lot of wavers, but then he did have a good exit from the corner, and Shanahan had a little mistake afterwards as he got pinned on the inside of the circuit. I think the inside a lot grippier and tougher to keep that proximity. Chase car struggling not to straighten on the inside. Watch Keski-Korpi just kind of wavers. Look at that front steering, a little bit of input there. Shanahan sort of gets himself caught on the inside. Look at that, just kind of wavering and wobbling. But again, it's so difficult. The conditions are horrendous right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're horrendous out there, and these guys are doing an incredible job to even make it around the circuit, especially when seasoned pros like James Deane say that you don't even know what to expect every time you initiate. The track conditions change every single run. Keski-Korpi didn't put down a bad lead line. That just encouraged Conor Shanahan to gain a load of proximity.
Yeah, and I think this is different, right? Well, you know, the Keski-Korpi's hitting the wall in the chase, Conor Shannon's on the door. Is that where the difference is over the two runs? Very hard to say. We're going to find out, though. Going through to the top 8 is Conor Shanahan. Conor Shanahan gets the win and goes through to the top 8. And surprisingly, as far as I'm aware, his first top 8 this year.
Yeah, it certainly is, Dave, yeah. Unfortunately, not been able to make one so far. Mechanical failures, knocked out in top 16s.
Now, look, everyone respects good driving, but the Finnish fans not happy that Mika Keski-Korpi is eliminated.
Silence.
Silence.
No cheering now.
Well, they still have another few drivers in there, but I think for Shanahan, it was the clever approach of the two runs. Much smoother in the lead on the outer zone. Keski-Korpi wavering and wobbling, and then again, look at that last corner. Shanahan's on the door, Keski-Korpi's in the wall. It's pretty easy to see those little mistakes. I gotta say, not many from Keski-Korpi, but one major one, and that was enough.
Yeah, exactly.
He was waiting on Shanahan to make a move that was going to put him out of competition, and it didn't happen. He just stayed very reserved. And look at this, right at the end, little push on the door here from Shanahan just across the finish line, where Keski-Korpi drove across the finish line in the chase position. That's all it really came down to.
Almost contact again. There you see Conor Shanahan slamming on the handbrake, trying not to hit him over the line. Well, there we go. Back on the start line we go. It's going to be Duane McKeever to take on Diogo Correia.
Yeah, you got Correia, who's coming off a podium here last year and loves this track, but not in these conditions. Not so much rain in Portugal, I can imagine. Duane McKeever likes the rain, however, it is sketchy here. McKeever sitting top 3 in the championship. This is where he's got to make a move. He's looking at Heinonen. He's looking at those guys around him saying, I cannot let them get away here. So he's got to take down Correia if he wants to stay in this championship fight. Yeah,
every single step of the way. McKeever's still in the fight for the championship. Third at the moment. Can he hold on to it? Second, sorry, at the moment. Can he hold on to it? And he felt the pressure from Arne Nilsson, but Nilsson dispatched off in top 32. It's time for McKeever to shine as he goes for it. Fires in a big handbrake drag down onto that second outside zone, puts it in. Oh, and Correia almost put himself into a spin there. Had to back out of it now, gets himself back into it. McKeever looking rock steady in front though as he transitions now. Both cars almost stuck on lock there. Looks like they didn't want to transition, but McKeever backed out of it onto the wall there. Thought he was going to make contact now. Transitions down. Over the bump he goes. Starts to put a little bit of ground between himself and Diogo Correia, but Correia now back into the fight, looking for the side as McKeever puts it up on the wall, and tyre smoke across the line.
A little bit of tyre smoke. I was just about to say across that final. I mean, obviously it drives quicker on the bank as the water runs down, but it looked to me, you're right, Correia did a really good job of not putting himself in the wall here. He almost goes, it's the car hitting the wall actually stops him from spinning. And that is an error, and I don't think that error caused by McKeever. McKeever stays wide on the line, but again, it's not perfect from either driver. You can see McKeever on the transition in the center of the circuit does back away from the wall, thinks he's going to lose traction, but again, I think it's about that tentative drive from everyone. I mean, McKeever's not risking a whole lot. He gets close to the wall and goes, whoop, I might go into the wall, backs off it a little bit, but I'll tell you what, Correia, that hit with the wall, the one major error, I think, everywhere else he was pretty good.
Yeah, I think that could be the one that seals the deal there for this after the battle, but like you said earlier, Dave, it's not over until we see the second runs, because anything can happen.
Half a run means nothing here on these conditions. It can all go to pieces very quickly. So McKeever in the chase now, Correia in the lead, and I'm starting to see, from my vantage point on the track, dry streaks on the track, which is now mean this is the most difficult this track is going to be. There's going to be some areas where the car is going to feel like it's got full grip, and then it's got no grip, and you're going to have to adapt in milliseconds to stop the car from spinning or straightening out. This is going to be a tough one for both of these guys, as the sun now dries the track.
Yeah, the sun out in full effect, and the plate's starting to heat up on track and around town as they come through the gears now down. McKeever looks for the back bumper, lets Correia do his initiation. Very slow, a lot of handbrake in there from Correia, but he's in the wall again and disposes of even more body panels, and he's in the wall again. He's wobbling and wavering. McKeever has to shallow up massively as they come around. Big angle dialed on from Correia, but McKeever way on the wrong line there in that inside zone. How a judge is going to deem that one as Correia comes down, looks for the transition, times it perfectly, but he's a little shallow. He's on the wrong line coming into this outside zone, and McKeever's having to deal with it. This is not the best lead line from Correia as they get up close and personal on the wall.
Now, a couple of moments for both drivers there, but I'll tell you what, it looked to me like Correia almost over-rotated at the end of the first corner, which meant Duane had to wait for Correia to come back around because it's so slow there, and I think it's very hard to chase through the center section of the course. Now you're seeing the drivers adapt again. Correia using the wall almost like a pinball machine to come back into this, but as you can see, Correia gets to the end of the corner, hits a wet patch, and goes on big angle just after. He feels like he's got the grip, and then all of a sudden here he goes on huge angle, and McKeever's just waiting and waiting and waiting for him to come out of that corner, and it's going to be very, very tough for these drivers to gain proximity consistently through the course when the lead car, the driver themselves don't know what's going to happen.
No, exactly. So
well noted here that he was on the inside of those white lines, which the judges said they want you on the outside of those lines, front wheels to those lines. And the only thing hot on this track right now is the pyro going up behind the concrete walls. But both these drivers won't know. They won't know which way this one's going to go. It was a sketchy one, but going through to the top 8 is Duane McKeever. Duane McKeever gets the win and goes through to the top 8. And yeah, I can agree with the judges on that one. I think you look at Correia, had the 2 big hits with the wall. They were heavy, they were tough.
Yeah, they were.
And it messed up his line. And again, it's down to just 1 or 2 moments. I think you can look at Mika, Keski-Korpi and Correia going into that first wall. That's where you're going to lose it. If someone doesn't do it and you do it, it does stand out quite, your steering wheel straight for a moment. It does exaggerate things.
Look at the rear wheel.
Oh, the wheel is an absolute piece.
That was from where he hit the wall. Look at that.
There's no edge of the rim. How is that tyre holding air?
That was what I was trying to look at a minute ago. That is just...
It makes me feel sad when you get a slow puncture now in the car, when these guys are driving around with full air in the tires.
Full air in the tyres, and half a wheel.
And half a wheel. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, look at this, a big hit from Correia. He does well to correct it, really well to correct it and get back on it, but it's the boot lid just flies in Duane McKeever's in his passenger window. I'll tell you what, it is tough going out there. So we move on to our next battle. It will be Adam LZ representing the USA going up against Pontus Hartman from Sweden. Pontus Hartman on a great charge right now. He's been picking up a little bit of momentum every single round. LZ not qualifying on Ireland, the conditions catching him out, making some changes to the car. Now it looks like he's really dialed in. Of course, running a very similar car in Europe to what he is in the USA, so he's jumping from one to the other. This is his first ever top 16 in Drift Masters, and Pontus Hartman is going to be a tough opponent because Pontus doesn't make too many errors. So let's see what happens when they come off the line.
Yeah, off the line they go. Hartman will want this one. He'll want to steal the thunder from Adam LZ, but LZ goes for a nice initiation, very tentative, but keeps in control, puts the back end of that E36 into the wall. Hartman almost hits him, puts himself into almost a spin. Oh, and LZ hit the wheel. LZ snapped a rear arm on the back of that BMW. Can he hold on to it? Oh, and the wheel now making smoke where it's at a complete wrong angle. LZ absolutely flying. He's staying in it. Oh, the wheel goes under the car.
Oh, that's a big hit. The wheel went under the car, hops the car up, and it's going to come back to that first corner and the collision between LZ and Pontus Hartman. Who caused the collision? That's what's going to happen. And you know, if we look back historically, it doesn't look good for LZ here, as the driver going in the wall first seems to get blamed for a lot of it. But I mean, I was just about to say that even if he finished the run, he wouldn't have been able to finish the second one. He wouldn't have been able to start the second one with the damage on the car. This is a pretty big hit here on the left rear. Yeah, there's definitely contact.
I don't know if you can see it from that angle.
You can definitely feel it from that side. Hartman hits the rear of LZ's car very hard there. Watch this. Boom.
Oh.
But it's already this side of the car is already affected. So it's again, he's got hit both sides. And I think that is...
Did Pontus Hartman push Adam LZ into the wall? That's what we're going to look at.
Well, I mean, this is where we're going to have the judges come in and explain. But to me, there's a collision on the first corner. It looks to me like, I would imagine both LZ and Hartman going a little too hard. Probably getting in the wall. Look at this. This is dramatic. Oh, my goodness.
The wheel goes
under the car. Have you ever seen anything like it? The carnage this weekend has just been... We've seen... Look, he's up on 3 wheels. 2 wheels. Well, that's not ideal. Adam LZ having some big hits this weekend in a brand new chassis. And look at this.
Wow.
He's on 2 wheels. A reverse wheelie going through the track. I've never seen anything like it. Well, you come here for action, you come here for unpredictability, and I think you're getting it in spades this weekend. And look at this. Look at the scenes. Take a screenshot of that. The spring came out of the rear of the car.
Out of the coilover, come out of the back of it.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at that. Well, Dave, I have got some news just coming across my headset now. Adam LZ is deemed at fault. It wasn't affected by Pontus Hartman, so Pontus Hartman will get a bye run if that car is safe to continue.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
look at the 2 rear wheels.
Oh.
The 2 rear wheels are facing each other.
So one from Pontus Hartman and one from hitting the wall.
And he still tried to continue with no suspension. We got to go down to Becky trackside with Adam LZ. He was on 2 wheels coming through the course, Becky. That was a wild ride.
Absolutely a wild ride, Dave. I've just delivered the news to Adam here that the judges are deeming him at fault, and we're going to give him a chance to speak from his point of view what happened from inside the car.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really know how I could be at fault, so I'd like to know. I felt like I don't even know if I touched the wall. I think he crashed into me. Maybe something happened that I don't know, but I'm looking forward to hearing the judge's explanation.
And obviously, when the wheel went from underneath the car, could you feel it starting to go and thought that you could finish that run and maybe just hold on to it to get through the end of the course? But as we can see, the damage is just a little too extensive.
Yeah, I thought the car was fine. It felt fine coming around that corner. I think maybe something had gotten weak, so then when I made that last transition, it just broke. But I tried to finish the run.
Well, you tried your best. Unfortunately, this is the end of your road here in Finland, but we are looking forward to seeing you very, very soon at the next round, and you'll get your judge's explanation.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Bex. We're going to go over to Vernon to explain it. So a similar situation that we saw earlier on. First car to hit the wall, bouncing back into the second. Is that what we're seeing, Vernon?
Yeah, you got it right. You saw him bouncing off the wall, and I think it damaged the rear wheel already. So from that point on, it was just on him, and Pontus hit him because of Adam going off throttle.
Yeah, that makes sense, Vernon. I'm just about to say, obviously, the biggest damage on that car is on the the right-hand side of the car. So that was not where Pontus Hartman hit. So hitting that wall did that damage, and then Hartman came in there. And that's a lot of damage to the back end of that car, Ian.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. And you know what, even I feel like if it wasn't Adam at fault and the judges it swung the other way, I don't think that Adam would fix that car in that allotted 10-minute competition timeout to get out and do a buy run anyway.
No, and I'll tell you what, to me it's the same. We see a lot. If you go in the wall as the lead driver and you hit it hard and then the chase car collects you, they expect the chase car to be close. They don't expect you to suddenly bounce back into them. So we're going to see a lot of that as it plays out over the competition. So just keep an eye on that one, because we saw it in the top 32 between Falvey and Pszczonski, when Pszczonski touched the wall, bounced out and hit the chase driver, and they're deeming the lead car at fault every time for that, because obviously you're not meant to hit the wall. You're meant to just smoothly go around it. It's not meant to affect your steering. And I think going in there in that particular case. So Pontus Hartman, I'm sure will be given some time to check his car at this point. He's not deemed at fault for the collision. But it goes to show how knife edge, when we were only getting halfway through the first corner and these battles have been decided.
Yeah, so Pontus Hartman just taking an opportunity to warm his tyres up. It has been a bit of a wait to get Pontus back to the start line. So he will have to complete a buy run, and that is only, as you know now, from the situations that have happened all day.
We're learning.
We're learning. All he has to do is come down, initiate and complete the first outside zone.
I'll tell you what though, Pontus Hartman into the top 8, first top 8 of the year. This is a big move for him.
And he's done it before, Dave.
Yeah, you know what? He's building confidence here, and he's very steady.
I think once he gets that confidence and he builds on that throughout a day and throughout a weekend, he can be dangerous, because he has the car and he has the machinery. And he's got the team behind him as well. Pontus Hartman, he could be in the zone this weekend, and there we go. Look, he's going to play it well safe.
Very safe.
On the inside, no messing around. He doesn't want to mess up the car. And I do believe he's going to probably shut it down in a second. And yeah, there you go.
All he's got to do is just drift through that first zone, and he did that successfully. And Pontus Hartman from Sweden will move on to the top 8. So Conor Shanahan, Duane McKeever, Pontus Hartman through to that top 8, and it's not been, you know, on paper it looks like one way, but if you watch it, it looks another. We'll make it official from our judges, as it is going to be Pontus Hartman going through to our top 8. I don't know. It's got to come down to how do you go to that wall. Can you? I've never seen so many drivers lose from the lead position as we have today.
No.
And usually it's losing from the chase, that you're not close enough, you're not getting the proximity or whatever. Because you assume all these guys can do high qualifying runs, given that they're in this stage of the competition. But now there's no such thing, because everybody can't really get to grips with how the track conditions are. So now going close to the lead car is almost an advantage. You'll probably get hit back off the wall, but then you're going to be deemed at fault for hitting the wall in the lead position. So I'm just thinking, what do you do in the chase car? Do you go close, because you know if they make any error, they're going to bounce back into you. Sure, you're going to get a bit of damage, but you're going to get the win.
I think you have to stay close anyway, because I think that if you allow that lead car any kind of room, if they manage to make it round outside zone 2, they could drive away, and then you're playing catch up. Then you're in a dangerous position where you're almost incomplete because you have no proximity. Then you swap it around, and they know that they've already got one foot into the next half of the battles.
Well, the big thing I'm seeing right now in the burnout box is tire smoke.
Yeah.
We're starting to see tire smoke. The track is drying rapidly. There's a little breeze in the air. I can see across the surface now completely dry patches of the track. This is going to be really tough again. For the next probably 20 minutes, half an hour, it's going to be like nobody knows where the grip is or where it isn't. And then if it goes full dry, we're going to finish this with some really good battles. But up until then, it's just hold your nerve, right? That's what it's all about now. Do not, you lose this, you don't lose it by your opponent beating you right now. You lose it by making a mistake yourself. And that's been the tale of almost every battle right now.
Exactly that, Dave. And I think that, you know, you've got to keep your mind in the right place. And Jack said that yesterday. You need to get your head cool. You need to keep your mind right, because if you go in there too hot, too fast, too much angle, it could be the weekend over for just a silly mistake and a rush of blood to the head.
Yeah, and Marko Zakouril here from the Czech Republic will be looking at Jack Shanahan saying, everyone can go down here. Everyone can be beaten. On a day like today, anyone can win it. And I guarantee you Marko Zakouril is feeling confident. He's not afraid to put that car close and on the wall, that's for sure. The Czech driver will be absolutely firing up onto Shanahan's door here.
Yeah, he certainly will, Dave, as they come through, fire down, and Shanahan goes for a big straight line initiation. He's on the handbrake twice, 2, 3 times. Zakouril, though, not messing around. Oh, he wanders and wavers, though, Zakouril, and now it's almost dry. Shanahan falls out of that second outside zone, back into the wet. Oh, and he tags the rear wheel. Zakouril, super aggressive on the transition. Now the track is dry. There's the grip. You couldn't find it. He couldn't get to the outside zone. It's super wet now down here. Once again, Zakouril goes for a huge dive. Almost takes the front wheel. And Shanahan finds the dry line.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's going to come down. I think the wheel touch did not put Shanahan offline when he was transitioning back. I don't think it messed him up massively, but I've got to give it to Marco Zakouril. He was like a dog with a bone there. He was making sure he was in the conversation. Shanahan goes close to the wall, touches it, but doesn't affect him or the chase car. Most importantly, we get through there. Now, Shanahan handbrakes here. Look, he's going to fall out of the zone, and he has to handbrake to stay in it. Then he gets into the wet patch towards the end of the run at the corner, and Marco Zakouril can almost say, hey, I'm still in this. I'm going to get close. Look at that. Bit of a bump from Zakouril on the transition here. And at the end, Shannon's transitioning. He's kind of stopped transitioning, which transitions him much later. But he kind of has to back off then, of where it's just a kind of a tough one to know what way. Look at the smoke in the middle of the section. You can start to see tire smoke. Then the wheels free spin. Zakouril doing good. I love this dive from Zakouril at the end. This is sensational. Look, wow. To the door. Whoa. That's what it's all about. As they both finish the run clean-ish. But work to do for Jack Shannon, I think. Zakouril doing a good job in the chase run.
Down, just trying to pick out any little points there, Dave. Watching back on that replay of mistakes made. And
I think a little bit on both sides.
Yeah, I think
Shannon with the handbrake, you got Zakouril with the touch on the wheels. So I think this one's all down to the second run.
Yeah, everything to play for right now. Shanahan through the gears. He looks very calm. He looks collected, and he goes for a nice initiation. Zakouril fires it in. Good line. Handbrakes once again. Gets into the outside zone nice and early. That's a beautiful lead line from Zakouril. Look at this. He stays in that zone, and it throws Shanahan off. But now he goes a little wide. Can he hold on to it? Zakouril across the circuit. He has the pace. He has the grip. He just dips the wheel in the outside zone. And Shanahan's struggling to deal with this one as Zakouril fires down. Shanahan uses the wet track as an advantage to gain that lost proximity. Up to the wall they go and across the line.
Oh. I'm going to go out there and make a statement.
Zakourill's lead was way better than Jack's.
And I think Jack's chase was better than Zakouril. So I think that all did come down to the second run.
Yeah.
Much better proximity through the whole course from Shannon, but of course he's getting that because Zakouril is on a banger of a lead line.
Unbelievable lead line from Marco Zakouril. Put the car exactly where the judges want to see it. Look at this, completely fulfills the outside zone. And it throws Shanahan off. You can see Shanahan physically on the inside going, "What? How are you doing this?"
Zakouril's car's quick when he comes out as well. Here, just gets just a wheel in there. But Shannon knows at this point he's got to make the dive, and this is nice from Shannon as he gets big proximity in a tough part of the track. And then the transition is late and up onto the wall, but Zakouril again on that perfect lead run. This is going to be tough for the judges to decipher this one. I think both made mistakes on the first half of the battle. On the second, they showed what they're on. And again, I think that's coming down to a lot of the track drying out. They're getting grip, they can move and do things they want to do, have a little bit more confidence. Look at Zakouril here. Just barely dipping in, not as good there as Shannon was in his lead, but the rest I think from Zakouril was better. Shannon with proximity. Now this could go either way. I'm absolutely, I'm in the middle on this one. I could argue both sides here all day, but we don't have to argue because the judges have to make a decision of which way this one is going to go. It's going to be close. That we do know. But it's for a spot in the top 8. And let's see which way the judges go. And it is going to be one more time. And you know what? I love that because we were so on the fence about it. We were so in the middle about it that it made sense, right?
And Zakouril, look how happy Zakouril is.
You think he'd won the final?
Jack's like, next time.
Jack's like, here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, he literally, Jack Shannon's just said to the team, oh, he's getting it now. He's getting it now. So look at this, the smiles are on, but it won't be when they come back out on track. Now we've got some egos in there, and I like it. This is what I love about Drift Masters. As they get through the season, the confidence starts to build, and they have to believe they're the best to be the best. Don't get me wrong, these are humble guys on the microphone. When Becky gets down there in interviews, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, well, you know, bit of luck, whatever. But back behind the scenes, they want to be the best because they think they can beat everybody here. And here's another 2 drivers out here, 2 heavyweights, Juha Pöytälaakso and Kevin Pesur from Estonia. Finland versus Estonia. We had one Finnish driver out of the competition. But right now, Juha's looking super strong. Man,
look, yesterday in qualifying, he came out of nowhere and put a 97 on the board, and I thought he was going to top it. Shanahan was lucky, a second higher qualifying score, got in the position of first place qualifier. But Juha Pöytälaakso has been looking dialed. He's in the zone. I think he's ready for this. And this home track, I think this settles so many drivers, but he's got a very on-form Kevin Pesur behind him, ready to do the business, ready to stay in a championship fight. They absolutely hammer down through the gears, and Pesur goes for it, a bigger initiation. He's on the inside though, as Pöytälaakso takes a strange line through outside zone 2, and that messes up Kevin Pesur. Now they hit the wet part of the circuit. Now he's dry again, and Kevin Pesur is struggling to hang with a grip, but Juha Pöytälaakso way off that qualifying line. It's almost dry. Wow, the dive from Pesur was insane, but he couldn't hold on to it. Falls on the inside, disposes of the bumper. Oh, this is madness.
There's so much to talk about. I'm just going to put it out there. You'll see the replay in a second. Kevin Pesur's entry for the first half of the first corner was outrageous. He's on 90 degrees of angle. He's actually overtaking the lead car. He just taps the brakes and gets back into the pocket. Now Juha makes a mistake here. This is definitely down to the track drying. He thinks the car is going to wash out in the zone. It just picks up a ton of grip. And now Juha starts to make some mistakes. He transitions here, and then you can see, watch a little bit of tire smoke starting to build on the back of the cars. And now Juha doesn't expect that the car has so much grip here, he can't get to the zone. So Pesur is on the inside of the track, coming at this now way too fast. He's on the inside, barely drifting, fires through. Now wet patch up. Pesur loses the back of the car. He gets out here in the dirt. He does put 2 wheels off, which to me, if we listen to the judges yesterday,
Is an incomplete, yeah.
Is an incomplete. So regardless of me talking through all those mistakes, it might just come down to those 2 wheels off from Kevin Pesur being an inactive. So whether Rintinen's line, or not Rintin, sorry, Pöytälaakso's line it messed that up, I don't think so. He kind of came in on a wild dive. I mean, that's just my initial thought.
Hey,
but I mean,
we're just watching this as 2 random
like
guys.
You guys are. We have no idea. The magic tape is definitely back out again for Kevin Pesur's car, and God, the damage, just the carnage. You know,
this was a brand new car for 2024, 2 rounds ago.
Well, it's not now. A good time to bargain him down on
Never
price.
raced or rallied, Dave. Never raced or rallied.
Here we go. Second half of the run. Kevin Pesur in the lead. Juha in the chase. Pöytälaakso now has to be careful on this initiation. He goes in hot, he goes in close, and they are close to that first car. But Pesur's on a terrible line, and it looked to me like, Pöytälaakso's shut down. So what happened there? Is there a problem with Pöytälaakso's car that was caused independently, or was it from the collision with Pesur? And if it was the collision with Pesur, then I think that was Pesur's fault because he was on the wrong line. Anyway, doesn't matter. There's an incomplete on the first run from Pesur. Does that also put it as an incomplete from Pöytälaakso, which would make it a 1 more time? I have no idea anymore.
I'm getting some chat in my ear, Dave, and I'm telling you now, we're going to get an onboard, and you're going to go, whoa.
Big statement, Ian.
I'm just telling you.
I'm ready for the whoa.
Oh, you ready for
I'm building up the whoa.
Watch this. Oh, well, I thought he was going to get the onboard. Oh, Red Bull TV teasing us, not giving us the onboard just
so he
yet.
comes in here, he breaks, he hits him.
I don't think that the hit was anything to do with it, but I already know what's gone wrong, so,
Okay, so
you know.
we're going to see it from the onboard, okay.
Watch it from the... Oh, it's too late on the onboard. We missed it from...
Oh, he's lost the handbrake.
Told you it was an O, didn't I?
He lost the handbrake. That's what happened. Oh, no.
Was it an O moment? Or was
yeah,
it an
look,
O moment?
the car just dives
Doesn't
through
do
now.
anything.
I'm going to say Pesur is lucky because he's on a bad line up
Bad
there.
line.
So he got away. Oh, look at that. He pulls the handbrake. Watch.
Wait,
Here we go. Whoa.
Nothing. Right, but hold on a minute. What does that mean? 2 incompletes.
That would put it as a 1 more time in my books. That would be, if I'm looking at my abacus.
But now that means the team has to get that handbrake fixed. Pesur has to go back and think about what he's doing. He needs to get that car dialed in, needs to get himself dialed in. If this goes 1 more time with 2 incompletes, Juha, Pöytälaakso and Pesur have just been handed a gift, and here it is, Dave. It's going to be a 1 more time. What a gift for both of these drivers.
I think Kevin Pesur is thankful because that entry wasn't great from Kevin Pesur, so I know he's getting another chance. Juha's going, how am I still in this?
He couldn't even get out of the car because he wouldn't stop.
Well, you got to remember, he didn't see what happened to Kevin Pesur behind him, dropping the 2 wheels, so he would have known nothing.
Look, he is.
He's like, how is it a 1 more
He's
time?
like, how is that 1 more time? What happened? I straightened.
Is it the handbrake's broken?
Pesur's laughing like...
Pesur's gone, I got away with it. I got away with it.
I just had a handy one there.
Yeah, Pesur drops the 2 wheels and he goes, oh no. And all of a sudden he's back in the game. So championship very much alive for Kevin Pesur still, but a little sly smile. He's like, I don't know how they got away with that. But Juha's also happy this 1 more time's happening.
But I wonder if Juha Pöytälaakso has any brakes in the car because he couldn't stop it on the foot brake either.
Oh, he went past the...
So I wonder
how far he overshot the... So what? So maybe a pipe burst?
So maybe a pipe's failed. Yeah, look, he's looking under the car. I wonder if he's had a brake line pipe failure, and now have they got the parts to fix that?
Well, the Finnish fans are happy because they thought it was all over, but it's not all over as it goes 1 more time. And Juha now saying we better get back into the pits and get these. He said we need to push the car to see if there's brake fluid leaking on the track, which there could be. Yeah, brake fluid on the track, so it's leaking from somewhere, which is probably a good sign because it could be a pipe or something that can rebleed those brakes, but they have very limited time, right?
Yeah, they certainly do have a limited amount of time. And you see Chrissy Alto, part of Juha Pöytälaakso's team. They're spotting for him this weekend, and she'll be radioing the team in the paddock saying, hey, get all of the brake equipment ready because we need to fix this car as soon as we can.
Yeah, he's got a fantastic mullet as well, to be fair to you.
Do you know, he reminds me so much of a Formula 1 driver.
Really? A bit of Valtteri Bottas in there?
Bit of Valtteri Bottas going on there.
Yeah, I can see it. So now he's going
he has no brakes in that car.
So he's about to just plow into the water barriers. Maybe Kevin Pesur will give him a push in. So this is just drama on top of drama, and you can see it lining up behind you. Another massive heavyweight battle. When does it end?
It doesn't end.
It doesn't end. James Deane goes up against Tor Arne Kvia. James Deane saying it was a mess in qualifying. It's impossible in the wet and dry. The track is drying rapidly right now. I mean, I'm telling you, 10-15 minutes, this is a full dry track. James Deane, what way does he approach this? What way does Kvia approach this? How hard do they go into that first corner? Because if you expect it to wash, you're going to be offline.
So our safety marshal is out on circuit at the moment. There is a hold up on the track. We are going to have to put some granules down, Dave, to soak up some of that brake fluid. And I think our safety marshal is going to take a little wander around the track on his moped just to make sure that there isn't any fluid all over the place. As you know, we want to make sure the track is safe for everyone. Well,
it looks to me like this was just from the car stopped up. I think that's not online either. That's just on the run-up, so it's not a bad place for it to be. But I will say, look at that, massaging it into the ground.
Oh,
there.
I like that one. Massaging it in.
Pretty good. So we got James Deane in the lead, higher qualifier, Tor Arne Kvia, but looking strong Kvia in the rough conditions. I would say we're now having a look at the track and seeing, do we have any brake fluid on the circuit right now? And it's hard to tell because you've got patches of water and you've got patches of fluid everywhere because it's half wet and dry. So whether it's brake fluid or just the conditions, they're having a quick look out there because of course it's dangerous. You know what I mean? You got to make sure everything's okay.
It's dangerous enough as it is.
As it is, it's dangerous enough. You can see the marshals just explaining to everybody what's going on right now. And these have been amazing all weekend, the marshals here in Finland. They've been on it from the start, but it looks like the track has been given the okay and the all clear.
27 members of track staff alone.
Wow, and they need every one of them here because we've been recovering bits and pieces of every car on the grid. We're going to go back to it. Top 16 battle, James, the machine, Deane in the lead position. Kvia getting a big old run up at Deane here to lead the line early. You can see the big heavy breath from James Deane as he goes, what's going to happen next? Well, he's got no time to think about it as he go.
Oh, look at that. Kvia was on the back bumper, ready to rock and roll. Look at this, it's almost fully dry as they get down the hill. Kvia is absolutely glued to the side of James Deane. Deane deals with that very, very well as they come through the centre of the circuit. It's almost fully dry right now. Deane takes it nice and wide. Kvia opens the door. He transitions early, but Deane is on an absolute flyer. Kvia can't hang with the pace of James Deane. They get into that last outside zone and across the line, and the track is fully dry.
I would say 90% dry, but I'll tell you what, it looked to me, especially at the end of the first corner, that Deane just, again, there's a wet patch there, but Kvia's first corner was lightning. Look at this, on the front wheel the whole way around. Look at that locked front wheel, perfect chasing. Deane's lead run is exceptional here, especially the risk he took to go that wide with the conditions changing. It hits a wet patch here, big angle straight away from James Deane. And as they transition here, Kvia goes on the narrow angle, but the car grips up. He doesn't get the momentum he wants. And then just here on the transition, Kvia transitions too early. Watch, he should wait, but he goes early when Deane transitions, puts him on that side of the track too soon. And now he's kind of in no man's land because he's got to kind of cut the whole track to get through it. Actually has to handbrake the car to not go up on the grass, and that's an error. So amazing first corner and last corner from Kvia, but a mistake in the middle. And as I've said many times before, no great mistakes from the machine.
Well, we go back on the line, they go. Kvia now to lead out James Deane.
Deane's got to go for it here. He's got to go for it. There was big proximity from Kvia. Deane has to go for it.
Yeah, and Kvia needs to lay down a perfect lead line. Has he got it in the bag? And it goes nice and wide on initiation. Now he's full throttle, goes for the wall. Dabbing the foot brake, he's nice and deep. Deane flicks it on. Now Deane's on the inside of the circuit. Now Deane is struggling for proximity as Kvia fires through the middle of the circuit. Deane's over the curb, hopping wheels as Kvia fires a spoiler in Deane's face. Down the hill they come as Kvia goes for the transition. Oh, and a big flick from James Deane as he goes for the back bumper, and Kvia's on the wall.
Oh, that's sensational driving in these conditions. Absolutely sensational. Kvia, I think, knew he had the error.
Yeah.
And he went for the big one, and he got it. That is a 90-plus run from Kvia. But Deane, you could see he had a struggle here at the start. He got on the inside of the track. There was more grip there than on the outside. So the lead car is going slower than the chase car, which you can see Deane struggle with and get on the inside. But from there, James Deane just, pulled up his socks, transition, and then look at Kvia's line here. Absolutely unbelievable. Blows the spoiler off the car. It's unbelievable. But Deane doesn't make the same error Kvia does. He waits. He stays on that side of the circuit, meaning he's right there. So where Kvia's making the big mistake, Deane's using it to his advantage. So what a transition into that last corner that was. Oh,
incredible.
Unbelievable.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at the spoiler.
Oh, it's good to watch. The spoiler's just like, way, just thrown into the background. Oh. Good to watch.
So good.
So good to watch. And it goes to show how good this track is when you get good conditions. And the conditions getting better and better run by run.
Run by run.
Still a few wet patches out there, but it's drying. I'm going to say 10 minutes from now, you got a full dry track.
And that's going to say a lot for our one more time battles that we've got coming up.
Yeah, well, you look at the Pesur and Pöytälaakso. They went out in the wet, and they're probably going to go again in the dry.
And Jack.
So we got a decision in from James Deane and Arne Kvia, who's going to go through to our Grade 8. And now the boys are sweating down there. There's so much sunshine. This is a crazy day of action.
We don't have a decision.
We don't have a decision yet.
Nope.
We're still discussing.
Yep.
Oh.
You think it was plain and simple.
I thought.
You thought. That's the problem. You thought.
Does Deane straighten in the first corner? Is that what they're looking at?
No, I'll tell you something else, Dave. Deane had a wheel over the curb.
Okay. Let's have a look at this again. Lead position. There's James Deane. This is a slippy moment here. That's where it's wet. Kvia does a good job. Now, Kvia loses it, but Kvia stays on the track. Deane goes wide. This is a mistake for me from Kvia. Kind of goes too early. The speed James Deane came down there is crazy. But Kvia does a good job everywhere else. Now, I want to see you're right. I want to see the chase from James Deane. First corner wasn't super smooth. And we're going to get a decision. A decision for the top 8 is coming in. And it's a one more time between Kvia and James Deane, and nobody's complaining. But I got to run it back to you, Vernon. We were looking at it where you saw some mistakes from James Deane there. I'm interested to hear.
Yeah, it was a really tight battle, to be honest. Well, with James, we saw he was in his lead. He was a little bit tight on the inside. Other than that, he was doing a really good job. And if you swap it back around, when he was chasing, he was even cutting a little bit more, but the proximity was there in some spaces. And then Thor was losing the proximity from the second part of the track.
Okay, so Kvia losing proximity, and then we have James Deane with a lot of sketchy cutting the track. So that balanced it out for one more time. I can see it. When you look back on it, he did jump up on the curb, Deane. But anyway, nobody's going to care here in Finland because they're ready to see two of their heroes take on the track. Lauri Heinonen is on the line, the man leading the championship right now. And I'll tell you what, he's up against Jarkko, Jylhä. And Jarkko, local legend, and again, a lot of the guys here saying he's almost as big a fan favorite as Lauri Heinonen. So a very divided Finnish crowd. They're going to enjoy this one regardless of which way it goes. But you got to think for Lauri Heinenen's sake, he's like, hey, Jarkko, you're not in the championship. Please, just don't knock me out. Don't knock me out. And Jarkko's like, I can't hear you. My car is too loud. So they're going to go for it here. As Lauri Heinonen will take lead. Jarkko Jylhä in the chase.
Yeah, look at this full dry track. We're expecting fireworks right now. Big initiation from Lauri Heinonen. Jarkko Jylhä goes for it, but it's now slippery down that part of the circuit. For some reason, Lauri Heinenen's found the only wet part of the track. They fire through. Jarkko Jylhä keeps a hold of it as he now jumps over the curb. Goes deep into the wall, goes Lauri Heinonen as they fire down to the outside zone. Jarkko Jylhä still hanging on. Can he hang with him on the last part of the circuit? He's going to have to shortcut the track to get across the line.
Well, you know, I think Lauri Heinonen did a great job there. I think he got frightened on the first corner. I think he went through a small wet patch and he locked the brakes to not spin the car, but actually slowed him down too much.
Yeah.
He was too cautious. Watch this. Lauri's on a really good line here. Fantastic. And all of a sudden, kind of just stops. And Jarkko Jylhä goes, oh, okay, I'm back in it again. He does well to deal with it. It's really good driving from both DAP to that moment. But I would say from Lauri's perspective, he does slow up quite dramatically there. Maybe not trusting the conditions as much. And we did say there is a wet patch there, or a weird patch in the middle of the wall where the water seems to just sit into that groove. But from there on in, it's really good from both Jarkko. And look at this. This is where both of these drivers are being clever, staying on the right-hand side of the track. And Jarkko Jylhä right in the fight here. A little bit shallow here, just trying to catch up. It's very hard to catch Heinonen. His car is so fast. But now we switch him around. You got Jarkko Jylhä. I said he's got the squishiest car out there because he's got all that rear end to put in the wall and not affect his front wheels. Let's see what happens as they come off the line. Finland v Finland in the top 16.
Yeah, look at this. Through the gears go. Heinenen's onto the back bumper. He's going to show Jarkko Jylhä that he is the man at the moment right now. Jylhä gets into the outside zone, and it's a nicer line from Jarkko Jylhä. And Heinonen deals with it. Does a really nice job in that chase position, but he shortcuts and he makes a little mistake there as he comes through that inner zone. As they fire down through the wall run into the outside zone. Jarkko Jylhä goes super wide, but wheels off track.
Yeah,
and almost contact.
He's thrown it away. It's over. 2 wheels off the track is an incomplete. And to me, you know what? Lauri was catching, but it wasn't perfect from Lauri Heinonen. And then they came down the hill, and Jarkko Jylhä threw it with a little bit too much pace, and I think he's put 2 wheels off the track.
He was panicked. I tell you what, Lauri Heinonen there, I think he got gifted a little bit of
I'll tell you
present.
what, it's a different line, you know, on the inside and the outside of the corner. It looks like when you get on the inside, you have all the grip in the world. Yeah. And that's what makes it sketchy. but it's a good lead run. But then as they come down the hill, he's too fast here, Jarkko. He bounces down and the car just cannot be slowed. Puts, yeah, it looks to me like 2 wheels over that white line, and Lauri's like, uh-oh, we need to get out of trouble here.
Oh, look at this, look. Oh,
yeah. Oh, just about gets away with it. Yeah, Lauri's like, uh-oh.
Oh, man.
Yeah, a little bump on the back end of the car. But I think that was an unforced driver error in the lead position, which I think, if you look at both runs, if Jarkko had kept it on the track there, there would have been a bigger conversation, but I don't think there will be now, as the result will probably be predictable, as Lauri Heinonen gets the win. Lauri Heinonen gets the win and goes through to the top 8. And it's not straightforward, but it's all that matters is that he's there.
And he's the only driver in the last 4 battles that's actually got through to the Great Eight.
One more times, right?
Or it's 3 one more times to come up. And we're going to kick it off with the next one. It'll be the first one of our one more time battles. Jack Shanahan's take on Marco Zakouril. You forgot about that one as well, Dave.
That happened about 3 hours ago.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Have we had 4 one more times in a row?
We've got 3 one more times. That was the 4th battle.
That's insane. It goes to show how tight it is out there and how many mistakes are being made.
And I thought...
Is it fully dry now? That's the question.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I thought it was fully dry. But watch Lauri Heinonen in outside zone 2. I don't know. If you're not on the wall, it might not be dry.
Okay, so we don't know is the answer. But I do remember Jack Shannon and Zakouril on a full, sort of half and half setup. Now we're in the dry. So I'm sure the teams have been watching the battles going, oh, I think it's fully dry. Just go as if it's fully dry.
Fully dry,
is that a risky move? Especially watch halfway through the wall. Watch everybody wobble there, because there's something weird going on there with a little dip in the tarmac, and it sees the same, a lot wetter than everywhere else. But anyway, we don't know. And at the end of the first wall, it looks to be drying. So, I don't know. I'm just sitting back and watching that, because it is absolutely fascinating as we see Jack Shanahan take the lead position and we see Zakouril in the chase. 2 very, very determined drivers ready to do battle. Yeah, look at this. Shanahan goes for it this time. Now, does it look fully dry? It's fully dry on that part of the track. Shanahan into the wall, a little wobble from both guys as they settle themselves in outside zone 2. Now full throttle as they come through that inner clipping zone and transition back. Zakouril closer than before. Now Shanahan finds outside zone. Wow, Zakouril, what a transition. Almost took the back bumper off that GT86. And again, Zakouril's hungry for it. Big dive, but he just found the throttle a little late. Oh, Zakouril coming out hungry. And we remember, you can see Shanahan look at Zakouril and say, I'm going to get you the next time. And Zakouril probably took that as a personal. Oh, will you now?
Will you?
Oh, well, watch this. Yeah. So Zakouril does an amazing job here. I mean, you got to say the lead run is pretty good from Shanahan all the way through. But Zakouril, he's not shaking anywhere. Really good stuff, and again, it just shows how good this track is when it's dry. So knife edge. Shanahan right to the edge of the circuit. There was only one mistake for me from Zakouril, and that was after this transition. Watch this. Waits, stalls the car up, gets on throttle a little late. I think he has to, because he's on so much angle. He just has to wait for the car to start. Oh, a little bump across the finish line. Zakouril to Shanahan. Now Shanahan's in the chase, and you've got to expect Shanahan to be driving angry now. He's got a motivation here to take down Zakouril. Zakouril's done a lot of work here. He has the advantage right now. So it's got to be do or die for Jack Shannon if he wants to spot the top 8. Zakouril's just got to keep that perfect lead line that he's been doing. He's been outdoing Shannon so far with that line. But can he do it again? Can he replicate that lead line? That big handbrake initiation. He goes for it now. Not as wide into that outside zone 2 as we'd like to see him, but now he works the back end up onto the wall. As Shanahan looks for the rear wheel of that 2 Series BMW. Shanahan fires through the centre section of the circuit, and Zakouril puts a little ground between the two of them. He goes super wide. Can he keep it on tarmac? He can. Shanahan checks up, almost hits him again, and gets on the door. Oh, I thought he was gone. I thought he was off the track. I thought we were going to see what happened to Jarkko. Julia, same thing. It seems to be really slippy on that, and that bump unsettles the car. Yeah, massively. So let's break it down. Zakouril gets late to the zone, halfway through the corner, so that's not ideal. Shannon is on the inside doing a pretty good job there, and he just get out of the zone pretty fast, Zakouril. This is good from Zakouril towards the end of the zone. Good job as they transition. I think Shanahan makes a mistake here. He goes too wide. Watch this. He hits the curb, unsettles the car, and he goes wider than the lead car into that zone, which loses him some ground. Zakouril not quite out to the zone. Now watch the zones at the end of the run here. So Zakouril, he's flirting with danger. But does he miss? Pretty much misses that zone, and I think he may miss the last zone too. Watch this on the bank. Not sure he's all the way up there. Yeah, not all the way up there. So let's see which way the judge. I mean, it's great driving for both of these guys. It's good to watch. So good as a spectator. And I think both don't know which way this one's going to go. And going through to the top 8 is Jack Shanahan. Jack Shanahan gets through to the top 8. And I think that was... I'm going to go quickly to you, Vernon. Talk us through it. You saw Shanahan getting the better run of the 2.
Yeah, it all came down to the lead run, actually. That was the difference, although it was not that big, but he had a bit more steady lead line, which was a little bit easier to chase. So, yeah, that came down to the win.
So, yeah, good proximity from both drivers, but it looks, again, as Vernon said, the lead run's being weighed so heavily this year.
On, yeah.
And with, so when we move it along, we'll get back to a bunch more one more times. And this is not a one more time. This is the first battle between Conor Falvey and Benediktas Čirba. Now, Conor Falvey, 16 years of age, he's the youngest driver on the grid. He's got through Kuba Piszczonski in the top 32. Benediktas Čirba did not get tested. He had a free buy run in that top 32, but Čirba has way more experience than the youngster Falvey.
Yeah. But Conor Falvey sits in the lead position. He's the higher qualifier. So Conor Falvey on a better lead line than Čirba. Can Čirba hang with a 16-year-old, or will the new young blood in the championship come through and steal the crown? And did he steal the thunder? Well, he's coming through the gears down for initiation, and Čirba's all over the side of the S15, but then he gives a little separation. Oh, and Falvey tags the wall and it upsets the car, but he starts to pull away now. Čirba shuts the car down mid-track as parts off of Falvey's car disappear in the background. And Conor Falvey puts foot to floor. Can he hold on to it? Can he complete this run? Or did Benediktas Čirba deem anything there to knock him out of competition? What has happened?
Was it a rebound off Falvey's car that caused the issue? That's the question we're going to have to ask now. What happened with Čirba's car? Did he hit Falvey and cause an issue? No, he's looking at something electronic.
Yeah, so it's the electronics in the car. He's looking at the dash. And these guys all run digital dashes and what they call a PDM. So
let's look at this again. Was it... Falvey goes way too hot in here.
There's no contact.
No contact between the two cars, and Čirba just shuts down.
Watch Čirba, watch him in the car. He tags the wall as well.
He's driving along, and then
he looks at the dash straight away. He's looking at the dash.
So something, yeah. And does the car cut out?
The car cuts out. Look at, there's no smoke.
Yeah, the car cuts out. How bizarre. How bizarre that the car cuts out. You see Falvey just tearing pieces of S15 all over the track. But Conor Falvey's not going to know any... Oh, God, that is big damage on the back.
Big damage. He's damaged the radiator.
And it's split the radiator on the back of the car as well, and it's pouring out steam on the back of Conor Falvey's car. So we have an incomplete from... And this could be a case of he's not safe to run, he would be out of competition. So this could be swinging back the other way very quickly.
So he's losing coolant. Yeah, look, he's losing coolant out of the car, which means Marcin won't be allowed to send him. I'm trying to listen in to see what Benediktas Čirba is saying to our start line marshal Marcin. And Benediktas' car is off. Look.
Yeah, he has the car off at the moment for some reason. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on.
So
here.
How does this even play out?
Oh, he's trying to turn the car on. He's saying it won't start. Oh, it will start. There you go.
He slowed you down or what? Why did you hit him?
Because he hit on the wall.
Okay. But your car is okay?
Pretty much.
So
Čirba's saying that he shut the car down because Conor Falvey hit the wall. But now the judges won't deem it in that way, Dave.
No.
We've got to look at it on a technical platform. Benediktas Čirba will be saying, look, I shut the car down because he hit the wall. But the judges will be saying, but he continued the run.
Yeah, there was no contact.
There was no contact between the two guys. The judges will say to Benediktas Čirba, look, yes, he hit the wall, but you should have continued the run because Conor Falvey was able to complete the run. That's the point where the radiator got hit.
And also at this point, Čirba is trying to drift at this point and then shuts down. So it's a strange one. Now, Falvey's got a bent radiator here. It's definitely split. But I'm not too sure what the situation is at the moment. So he's got a bent radiator. It's not leaking fluid, but it could be, and it could be unsafe. So Marcin's going to have to make some big calls here.
But now that could just be water holding in the radiator from the overflow. You don't know, Dave.
Or does he run the car with no radiator? So I'm just trying to listen.
Yeah, we're trying to listen in. We're sorry for the pause in our commentary, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to listen in to hear what Conor Falvey's saying to our start line marshal Marcin. So the radiator isn't damaged. The little drips of water are coming from the overflow. You see that bottle in the back with the hose on it? That is dripping water out. I think that the steam from... I don't know though, Dave.
That radiator looks pretty split to me.
Your radiator is broken and it's leaking. It's leaking, yes, but now the judge is asking what's happening.
So he's explained that the radiator is split. Conor Falvey is going to be deemed whether he's able to compete or not.
for a second, I just want to go back. Yeah, look, here we go. You can see where coolant's been leaking. I just want to go back to everyone that's watching online and in attendance. Our start line Marshall Martin, when you think he's just a start line guy, he's not the start line guy, just the start line guy. He's in contact with the judges, the production crew, and the track managers, and they all talk amongst themselves. And he has to relay information to the drivers about one more time battles, buy runs. He has to find out what has happened between two drivers, and then he gives that information to the judges and the crew behind the scenes. So that man is doing way more work than starting the cars.
The other problem you have here is variables. There's so many variables. In another sport, it's, you know, it's not down to mechanical things. You've got driver and mechanical. So
this isn't black and white.
So this isn't black and white. What they're going to look at here is saying the radiator has leaked out all of its water on the track, or coolant on the track, but there's probably none left in the radiator. So now Marston's going to make the decision of whether it's going to leak or there's nothing left to leak. And then you got Čirba, who shuts the car down and incompletes his run. So I don't know where the judges or anything stands in this, because you've got a complete and an incomplete, but then you've got a second car that can't go through. So I don't know what they're going to do here.
But what I'm taking back away from that is when we went quiet and we were listening to what was being said, was Conor Falvey was looking at the dash in the car, that digital dash which gives all the drivers all the information from all the sensors around the car, the oil pressure, the coolant temperature, and he was saying the car's not hot, the car is fine. So Conor Falvey's looking at the dash with all the sensors from the ECU and saying, well, the car's not hot, so it must have coolant in it. It must be keeping cool somehow. I'm not sure what's going on. Benediktas Čirba is out of the car, and he's going to get back in now. The steering wheel's back on the car. This is such an odd situation. I don't think we've ever seen something like this before, Dave. Benediktas Čirba's hooking up his helmet. Is he going to strap himself in? He is, and maybe he will be given a buy run. Will we see a second half of a battle?
Yeah, so I've just got the information here. So this is what's being laid out right now. So they're looking at the incidents at the first corner. So they're saying that the incident where Falvey hits the wall and Čirba shutting down are given two, let's say, independent incidents. Right, so an incomplete from Benediktas Čirba, not an incomplete from Conor Falvey. But Conor Falvey's car now deemed not fit for purpose, as they would say, or not safe to send into the second battle, meaning that if they send Benediktas Čirba and his car does work, the buy run is worse than the incomplete, meaning Čirba would go through. Because it's actually the case that Falvey would forfeit the competition rather than the battle. Does that make sense? He would be forfeiting out of competition.
Just putting it out there, because loads of weird stuff has happened this weekend. What if Benediktas Čirba doesn't complete a full run, the car shuts down, then who gets the win?
Does he have to complete a full run, or maybe he just needs to initiate the first corner?
It's not a buy run, is it?
It's a buy run, yeah.
It is a buy run.
It would be a buy run because Conor Falvey cannot compete because his car is deemed unsafe to compete. So Conor Falvey, essentially, he is bowing out of competition regardless of the result or what's happened. Does that make sense? Halfway through the run.
Halfway through the run.
So he's retiring as opposed to being beaten or a score going in. So that's kind of what I'm hearing from the marshals. Again, there's a lot of chatter. This is a very strange scenario. But and Conor Falvey's saying he does want to compete. He thinks the car is fine and not overheating. But Marston is saying if you go into that corner, you're going to dump more coolant on the track because it's going to flop out of the radiator, right? Which would be a very harsh way to exit the competition for either driver at this point. He's saying the temperature on the car is staying constant on the dash. And it is, you know what, it actually is saying overheating right now. So I think it's maybe rising without the coolant in the car. Yeah, the car is saying
so now it's saying it's overheating.
He's saying it's at 116, which is very hot, as you would know.
Yeah.
116 degrees. So it looks like it may be the end of the weekend for Conor Falvey here, and a big cleanup for our marshals on the track. And it's not what you want to see.
And you know what? It's such a shame because
it's just too heavy a hit with the wall. That's all it takes.
It could have gone one way or the other. And do you know what? There were so many different things that happened in that battle that it just threw everybody in the air.
Yeah, and I think if you go back to the decision, you know, Čirba saying that he shut the car down because Falvey hit the wall. I think, you know, I think if you look back at it, I think that car just shut down on its own. However, Čirba, you know, in the heat of the moment might have thought that. He might have said, you know, I need to back out of this, but it's hard to know. And then you have another situation, and you see this is
the
how,
bottle flip. That's the other situation.
This is how you know, this is the biggest compliment.
Who's going to win this?
Oh, close from Duane McKeever.
Right,
Conor Shanahan. They're both useless.
Well, they're going to battle each other in the Great Eight. So I guess whoever wins the bottle flip wins the battle.
Well, we hope the battle is more competitive than this battle. No. And again,
he gives up.
Yeah.
Duane McKeever's like, I'm out.
Biggest drift championship in the world, folks. You're watching the top level here, bottle flip. As we get a bit of a clean, you can see, I think it's dumped all the coolant from Conor Falvey's car. Look at the rubber on the track, by the way. Have a look, it's dry now. Have a look at what they've been driving over in the wet.
I went down there this morning to do a walk around of the circuit with our 3 judges and get a little bit behind the scenes for the Drift Masters vlog. If you haven't checked it out, go on YouTube, check that out.
Yeah.
Incredible vlog that
I've got to
filmed.
remember, James Deane waiting for a one more time out with Duane and Kvia there as well. Sorry, just to remind you.
Just remind me. The rubber down there, Dave, is so sticky on the track, it pulled my trainers off my feet.
Wow. And I was down there as well. And it is, I mean, in the dry, sure, you're putting rubber on rubber, but in the wet, it was impossible to drive. And as you can see, just sweeping up the granules there, making sure everything is okay on track. And we got to make sure everything is safe for our drivers. That's another important part here. And so we got Conor Shanahan going up against Duane McKeever in the top 8. We got Pontus Hartman going up against Jack Shanahan. And on the other side, we haven't decided much, but I think we are going to decide, I think officially, and I'm going to make it official very soon, that Conor Falvey will go out of competition as a retirement against Benediktas Čirba. So let's see how it goes. But it's a lot of unprecedented stuff happening this weekend. And it's drifting, and this is what happens, because there's so many variables compared to any motorsport. It's usually like, who's the fastest guy? Oh, that's it, he won. But there's so many little things that can happen because it starts and stops. We've got, 75 start and stops in a weekend. You know what I mean? That's the start line. So it's interesting to see. You can see Čirba waiting there. Now, he would have to complete this. And I think if Conor Falvey goes out of competition, you can see he's dejected.
Yeah, he's dejected.
It's a very harsh way to go out of competition. So let's go down the trackside with Becky. She is with Conor Shanahan, and he's watching all the drama unfold here in front of him, Becky, and it's been an unpredictable day.
Unpredictable is definitely the word here. I was about to call you Dave. We're about to head into the next battles, and the weather is looking like it's going to change again, and this is every driver's worst nightmare. You've just got used to the track being one way, and now it's looking like it could turn again. Conor, what is your plan going into this battle?
I think, to be honest, if you have a plan now, you're crazy, because we've been trying to plan since 8 a.m. this morning, and I still have no idea what's going on. So it's been really difficult. We're like setting the car up for the dry, it rains, you set the car up for the rain, and now it's dry again. And I'm looking above right now and I'm thinking, is it going to rain again? So it's super difficult. It's making it challenging because you got to not be an incredible driver to win the event. You got to be quite smart, So I just got to take it run by run, the same as everybody else. I battle Duane McKeever next, and I'm looking forward to that.
I was about to ask you about that. Duane McKeever, I mean, this guy looks like he's on rails. He knows this car extremely well. He's been driving it for a very long time. What is it like to go up against somebody like that? Is it good because you can push hard, or is it nerve-wracking because, this could be you out in this next battle?
Yeah, Duane is a good friend of mine also, so it's always a good time when we go to battle. And I also know he's one of the best drivers in the world, so it's kind of put it all on the line. To be honest, I enjoy battles like this, because if you win, you're definitely happy, but also if you lose and have a good battle and put up a fight with one of your good friends on the highest level of competition, it's always enjoyable.
Thank you so much, Conor, and good luck for your next battle. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Becky. Well, there you go. Conor Shanahan saying Duane McKeever is a tough, sturdy competitor. But we sit back on the line with Benediktas Čirba. No, Conor Falvey retired that car due to mechanical failure. The radiator taking a big hit with the wall. Now, Čirba will have to initiate and make it round that first corner to get the win in this bye run. It looks like he will complete that as Čirba gets into the outside zone, hammers down and shuts the car down very quickly. No messing around. Did what he needed to do, and he's going to get back to the paddock. If there is any issues with that car, he's going to get back and get the team to sort it, and that means we will be able to make that decision official. And you can see on the onboard there, Benediktas Čirba looking very, very focused and maybe a little bit annoyed that it took so long to get that decision through. So there we go, we make it official. Benediktas Čirba gets the win, advances through into the Great 8.
Yeah, it's a messy battle, but look, it's the way the rules work here in Drift Masters. And the one thing about rules is they're the same for everybody. So no matter what happens, some days it can go for you, some days it goes against you. And I know there's lots of different fans all over the world watching this, just wanting everybody to get the best chance they can. But remember, these rules keep it fast-paced, keep it fair, and every driver knows them. So even though they get annoyed and emotional about different things, they know what those rules are. And they know that if they don't make it to the line with a working car, they cannot compete. So we get warmed up now for another one more time battle. This one I'm looking forward to in full dry conditions, because Arne Kvia, well, he's coming for blood here, because he's had a lot of misfortune in the first 2 rounds. Go here and beat James Deane in front of this crowd, that'd be a big one.
I mean, it would be a big one, but you know, and it would be a big statement for Kvia. Like we said before, he's struggled this season so far. It was the return to Arne Kvia after having a bit of a sabbatical, should we say, Dave, from competition drifting in Europe. He went back to Norway, won the Norwegian Championship. Then he came back with a little bit more confidence. You know, felt the car was right, felt it was his time to shine.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be
fireworks.
Do or die for Arne Kvia. Like, you can go up against James Deane, you know he's the best in the business, and you can trust it, and you can go close. And I would fear for James Deane's panels on his car right now, because Arne Kvia, look at that, he's ready to go. Kvia in the chase position, Deane in the lead position. We're going to go back at it again, spot the top 8 up for grabs. Deane leading them in.
Yeah, leading them in he is as they come firing down. And look at Kvia, no messing around, he's hungry for it. Goes for the back bumper straight away. Deane in the outside zone, he's nice and deep, he's tagging the wall. And look at Kvia, tagging the door as they come through. Look for that inside zone, transitions through the smoke. Kvia loses James Deane to the outside zone though. Once again, it happens for Kvia as Deane fires that car down the hill. Kvia looks through the smoke. Can he find the side of the S15 once again? And he can't.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to that first transition for Arne Kvia. He just stayed in it a little too long. He could have transitioned a little bit earlier. That's the clever move there. But he was getting so much fun being on the door of James Deane's car. He wanted to stay there as long as he could. Deane hits the wall here at some point, I think. He gets deep in it. Good lead run from James Deane. Look at this. Kvia just stays on that inside that little too long. Gets lost in the smoke. And then when he transitions, he's lost a lot of ground. And Deane's car is hooked up. It's fast.
It's very fast, especially when he transitions off that wall down into the outside zone. It's like, even when he handbrakes, look at that way the car compresses over the hill. He's gone. Like, and puts
I think the problem you are, if you're Arne Kvia right now, you're sitting there going, he's not going to make any mistakes. So,
no.
You know, Kvia's made one. It's a minor one. But then you're looking at James Deane saying he's probably going to finish this run without any issue. So now Deane's in the chase position. He's got a bit of an advantage. He's got to force it home here by going on the door. Kvia's got to put in the lead run of his life.
Well, he took a little bit of a run up for the start line, and James Deane did too as they fire in. Kvia goes 90 degrees to the tyres. Deane's on the inside. Kvia's in the wall in a big way, and it straightens him out. He's broken the rear wheel.
He's broken the rear arm. We've seen it over and over again, and that's going to be Deane's win there. You can see Kvia went in with the big flick to try and upset Deane behind him, but it just didn't work. James Deane finishes out the run. The pyro goes up. And I think Kvia just said, I gave it everything I had. I threw it in on 90 degrees, and he just caught the wall a little too heavy.
Yeah, I mean, look, he had to risk it. It was risk.
You know what? There was absolutely no point in him not doing something like that, trying to do something spectacular, because it's the only way he was going to get back into the fight. And he knew that, so he went for the big flick on initiation, and I think he caught a little bit of understeer. You can see the front wheels straightened up a little bit, and then when you see that happen, you go, oh, he's deep. He's real deep in the wall. And unfortunately for Kvia, he's going to have to limp off the circuit. And again, those rear suspension arms, they have got a kink in them, which means that if you do hit something, they will break before they break something more heavy duty behind it, like a hub or a differential, and that's what happened there. But James Deane, you know what, you got to say it, looked confident on both runs, and if you're looking across the whole grid here, he's going to be tough to beat.
He is going to be very tough to beat today, to be honest with you, Dave. He's on form, he looks good, and I think he worries a lot of other competitors. You know, you put alongside him on the start line and you think, well, I've already lost.
Well, you're thinking, you're getting in the ring with Tyson, you're getting in with, you know, Tiger Woods, you're getting in with the best in the business, so you have to do something special. But straight away you can see James Deane goes in. I think James Deane knows he's going in the wall. When he hits the wall, watch James Deane pulls, just says, whoop. He's going nowhere. So you can see James Deane, you can see once he saw Kvia front wheel straight, he just said, see you later, buddy. Unfortunate.
Oh, it was a big hit. Pick the front wheel clean up off the
Kvia does well not to put the front end in as well, to be fair. It's a big hit. James Deane, look at these shots as he goes through. It's going to make this one official. This one not as hard to decipher for the judges. James Deane gets the win and goes through to the top 8. And I'll tell you what, it's been a real war of attrition for these drivers out there today. And we go back to the final one more time in the top 16, which we'll see Juha Pöytälaakso go back one more time with Kevin Pesur. And this one was definitely fireworks the first time around.
And I mean, look, it was
tracks and crashes and shutdowns and who knows.
And it was a huge gift for Kevin Pesur, because Kevin Pesur was almost counting himself out of it. After he dropped 2 wheels, wasn't incomplete. And I can't believe that they've got that car repaired and the handbrake working and that car on form. But look at that, he tests it straight away and says, well, it's working. It's ready to rock and roll.
And they had time because it was about 72 one more times in between, so he got more time than he thought he would.
Oh man, look at Pesur.
Pesur, visor down, laser focused. Here we go. This is going to be an interesting one as they come off the line. Juha Pöytälaakso in the lead. Finnish hopes are with him right now as he fires in very, very wide. And Pöytälaakso goes in the wall but makes it count. And Pesur has to make evasive action to stay out of it. This one is throwing body panels everywhere. Pesur makes a big dive through the center of the circuit. Now Pezur's coming for it. This one is personal now as Pesur dives through. Pöytälaakso flirting with the edge of the track. And Pesur takes a huge dive onto the door. That is what we came here to see. Unbelievable. That is another level. That's another level. Look at the angle. From Pöytälaakso's running the wall 30 feet before the zone.
He's in that zone so early, picks a throttle up and he is up and gone. And look
I thought he was in the wall and he made it work, but then Pesur comes with so much aggression.
Pesur was not messing around on those transitions, the dives, the way he positioned the car was unbelievable. And I thought that Pöytälaakso was going to disappear down the hill, but look at this from Kevin Pesur. He's shortcutting the circuit to try and keep that proximity. Look at this dive, boom, through the smoke, on the foot brake, into the door, and then watch this across the line, bam.
Oh, that's the little reminder. I'm here, buddy.
Here I am.
Yeah, where are you going?
Here I am.
You didn't get away from me with your big entry there, did you? Oh, and Pöytälaakso's lead run was phenomenal. That would have been a 99 all day in qualifying. Now he's got to go close. And look at this, the run-in from Juha. He takes every advantage he can off the start line. Pesur's car is in bits. Pöytälaakso's coming for it here as Juha fires in on the door. Pesur goes wide and he has to make evasive maneuvers there, Juha, as he takes the chase position now. Pesur is on a flyer, but he's a big angle. Even you have some opportunity here to get back into it. Out to the wall they go as Pesur now in the lead position, pulling some gap here. Pöytälaakso's going to make a big dive into that last corner, and he doesn't get there, does he? He does get there. Onto the door he goes. The Finnish fans go wild. What do you think, Keane? I'm not sure. I am not sure.
I'm thinking Kevin Pesur's lead line was nicer than Juha Pöytälaakso.
Gets to the zone very late there.
But he stays in the zone longer. If you watch the replay from Juha Pöytälaakso, he exited the zone there.
Yeah, true.
Kevin Pesur stays in it. He swings it wide here, keeps clear of that inner curb, which puts him on a beautiful line there to the outside zone. I think that opened the door. That gave Pöytälaakso the opportunity for the proximity. I just don't think that Pöytälaakso took all the opportunities to get on the door where he should have done. He makes a nice dive here, gets up close and personal, but Kevin Pesur's car is up and gone.
Yeah. I gotta say right now, that's a tight one.
That's a very tight one. Look at that.
It's unbelievable to watch. Like, you gotta watch these guys drive and say, have this level of precision on a track that is this difficult, is so difficult. And they're making this look, oh, that was like a final. That was like a final
battle, yeah.
Well, someone's gonna go through to the last spot in the top 8. Let's see who it is. And it's Kevin Pesur. Kevin Pesur goes through, and I've got to say, it's got to come down to that great lead running, and I think you were probably on the ball. I'm going to do a quick throw over to Vernon. Vernon, is it lead versus lead, chase versus chase for you guys there?
Exactly, yeah, the chase was fairly good for both sides. It was just the lead that was better for Kevin.
Well, that's it, simple as.
Simple as that, the lead line.
Yeah, and again, remember, you can't have a good chase without a good lead. Yeah. And I got to say, that was Kevin Pesur, and you know what, from a man that had 2 wheels off the circuit about 20 minutes ago, he's in the top 8, and his championship is right back online. So let's see where we are. It's the top 8. Conor Shanahan goes against Duane McKeever. Jack Shanahan goes against Pontus Hartman. James Deane goes against Kevin Pesur. Wow, that's going to be a big one. And Lauri Heinonen against Benediktas Čirba. These are all 4 finals right now, and we get to sit back and enjoy. I don't know if I can't.
This is a high-stress environment for us.
I'm feeling the tension right now because there's a lot of moments here that we're going to see between now and that podium that are going to wow us. I'm guaranteeing you that. Well, we're going to kick it off with Conor Shanahan against Duane McKeever, 2 drivers who have definitely faced competition many times in Ireland. And you know what? We're not going to wait around. We want to keep the momentum going. We want to keep the hype going. We're ready for the top 8. So we started with 50 drivers. We are down to the top 8, and it's been through the wet, we've been through the dry, we've been through the crashes, and we've been through the upsets. But now we see Conor Shanahan chasing back towards trying to get back in the championship. But McKeever, he's already in the championship. He's in the top 3. And if McKeever wants to really take this seriously and get this championship this year, he's got to take down the 2023 champion. If Shanahan wants to get back in the championship, he's got to beat McKeever. That's what's on the line here.
That is what's on the line, and they're off the line, through the gears, down. Look at Shanahan. He's hungry for it. McKeever goes very wide and fires the car early on initiation. Looks for the rear wheel, and Shanahan shut the car down.
Shanahan's got a problem. Shanahan has a problem. The car did not. I noticed on the look at that, punching the steering wheel is Conor Shanahan. He cannot believe this. And I'm going to keep talking because I'm pretty sure whatever he's saying in that car is not safe for PG television right now. And I'll tell you what, he came into the first corner. It was a very strange initiation from Shanahan because he never really went on power at all.
No, McKeever took the opportunity, went very wide. Look at this, goes super wide. Look at Shanahan's rear wheels. Yeah, no, nothing. There's nothing there.
So something shut down in that car. Something went wrong. And McKeever, I mean, he has to make evasive action straight away there, but Conor Shanahan initiates, goes on throttle. Look, he's kicking the throttle, and absolutely nothing happens. He cannot believe it. And again, like I said, third round, the cars are taking a beating all the way through. You can see what it means to Conor Shanahan because he knows going out at this stage in this competition, it's not going to help in the defense of the championship right now.
No, it's not. And you know what, for Duane McKeever, this just strengthens his championship. If he beats Conor Shanahan right now and gets into that final four, he's going to move forward. He's going to overtake, potentially, even catch it up.
Just as you can hear Shanahan say, I'm not doing the run. Shanahan says the car is not running. He's actually saying, he's undone the harness. He said, I can't do it, the car's done. So you can imagine, emotional and distraught, but he said the car won't do the run. So something more terminal has happened in that car on the initiation. And Conor Shanahan, I mean, look, he's been told Duane McKeever now all he's got to do is just initiate the first corner, get through that first zone, and he will go through to the top four. And I think Duane McKeever's going to say, this might be my day. This might be, you know, when you look at the look that's gone either way today from both drivers, it's just been, it's a game. You know, it's a game at the end of the day, and you can see Shanahan saying something wrong with the car. Car is off.
Yeah, so I just heard word over my ears that Shanahan said he doesn't know what's wrong with the car. That's the problem. He doesn't know. Earlier on, it was a simple hose joiner that was loose on the car. It could be anything, Dave, from a €2 part to a €2,000 part. We don't know.
McKeever, I'll tell you what, right now is going to go into that top four. He gets the Byron and he does his job of getting in there. And you know what? He goes for a big run to McKeever. Absolutely no need to do this, but why wouldn't he get an extra practice lap if you can get it?
Yeah, I mean, look, if it stays like this, he'll want to do it because he knows that there's some heavy hitters coming up in the rest of the competition. And if he can pull this one down, if he can feel a little bit more confident, gain some more seat time in that car, why not? Why not go for it?
Yeah, McKeever only had to pull the handbrake through the first corner, but he's confident in the car. He's confident in his ability. Gets another run on the board, and we're going to have the first of our semi-finalists confirmed very shortly, officially from the judges. And look, it's happened the opposite way around in Ireland. McKeever has a gearbox failure in the final. You know, he looked to me like he had the beating of anyone on that day, and it looked to me like the mechanical failure has knocked him out. It's knocked him out quite a lot through 2023 as well. And Conor Shanahan had no such issues in 2023, and it's just switched right back around. You can't take your eyes off it, Ian, because you never know.
You never know. You never know.
I thought that one was going to be a pretty smooth battle, but it wasn't. And now there you have it officially. Duane McKeever will go through to the top four. And maybe hoping to get back onto that podium, or the first step is what he wants, because he's in the championship. He's got Heinonen sitting on the other side of the bracket, and that's who he's aiming at, because all those guys are really up the order now.
Well, I was going to say earlier on, Lauri Heinonen still got a heavy-hitting battle to go against Benediktas Čirba.
100%.
Duane now steps into the final four, and Lauri doesn't. Duane's taken a whole load of points out, a bite out of Lauri Heinenen's championship lead. We might end up going to Riga with Duane leading the championship.
Well, I'll tell you what, one man you got to watch here, and he's sort of the dark horse here, is Pontus Hartman. Hartman's beaten Oren Nielsen, he's beaten Adam LZ, and now he goes up against Jack Shannon. This could be Pontus Hartman's day. Just one of those days, you never know what's going to happen. Jack Shannon, of course, trying to climb back up the order here after a solid performance at round 2. But I'll tell you what, Pontus Hartman's going to be tough to beat. The Swede is looking strong, consistent. He's not making major errors, and that's what it seems to come down to. Also, car working perfectly, but I don't want to jinx anybody at this point, because who knows. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be a tough battle for both of these guys. You got Sweden going up against Ireland for a spot in the top 4. Pontus Hartman, he looks happy. He looks like he could take down a Jack Shannon today. And let's see what happens as they come off the line.
Oh, wow, and Jack Shanahan launches it off the start line. He knows Hartman's got over 1,000 horsepower underneath the bonnet of that BMW, and Shanahan knows he had to try and put some distance between himself and the Swede, but the Swede is there as Pontus Hartman looks for the side, and Shanahan spins! What is going on?
What happened? Jack Shanahan, did he hit a wet patch? Did something go in the car? He spun out. I told you, on a day like today, Pontus Hartman, you just never know. What happened there? Was it a wet patch on the track? Was there a problem with the car? I've never had my jaw lifted so many times in the top 32. We never know what's going to happen next.
Listen, I'm going to just say, Dave, that Jack Shanahan's body language and aggression would signal that he thinks he got hit by Hartman.
Okay, let's see what happens here. I don't
think he hit him.
So. I don't think so. I mean, we're looking at it again here. I'm not sure.
I don't think he hit him.
I'm not sure there was any contact there. Let's look at it again in super slow motion. Look at the front wheels of Hartman's car. That's what we're looking at. No, I think Shannon.
I don't think Hartman touched him.
I think Shannon just goes on his own. That's my honest opinion from watching it first time. Does he just hit a bump and oversteer the car? Oh, it's just incredible scenes here in
Right, so
Finland.
we're going to hear from the start line. Look at the anger.
He's not happy.
Jack Shanahan's face, and he's an angry. He can be super angry.
He's an emotional driver.
He's an emotional guy.
Drives with his heart.
He's a big bear.
Yeah.
He's soft on the inside, but if you wind him up.
But you got to remember, competition is what they're here for, and they're competitive guys. And I tell you what, emotion, running, I tell you, the whole grid right now is emotional because there's a lot going on behind the scenes. A lot of teams bloodied and bruised from putting cars back together all weekend. Pontus Hartman is in the lead position. Now you got an angry Jack Shannon in the chase. And this is where things can get a little hectic on track because Pontus Hartman can cut in a pretty safe run here and win this battle. If that's the way it's gone, if that's the way the judges have deemed it. But Jack Shannon in the chase, if he's driving angry, this could be tough. But let's see what's on the circuit there. And let's just see if Jack Shannon reporting that there may be some issue there. Let's see.
So Jack Shanahan reporting back to our track staff that the track is super slippy in that area. Could there be some oil down?
Well, I'm trying to think, did we have any... We did have Conor
Shanahan. I mean, look at the amount of rubber that is down there.
Well, we had Conor Shanahan pass the track. We have had no other drivers suffer in that area until now. The only mechanical we've had is Conor Shanahan. But it didn't look to me that Conor Shanahan had dropped fluid. But maybe it's just slippy because of the rubber. Who knows? And that would just be, you know, the way it is, right? So they're inspecting the track. This is like a dramatic series. You know what I mean? It's like a
I don't
TV.
think,
Join us previously on Drift Masters.
I don't know if my heart and my mind can take too much more.
We've watched it all. You can see Shannon. He's on the right line.
Watch as he comes out that outside zone.
He just loses the back end of the car. So he loses the back end of the car, and now questioning whether there's track conditions are the problem. He's signaling to the marshals. We don't know what he's signaling. He's signaling something.
He's signaling angry Irish. That's what he's signaling.
Yeah, and it's difficult to translate.
Yeah, I've struggled many times before.
So now they're having a look just to see if, I mean, we know it's slippy there because just look at the rubber. Look at the amount of rubber laid down.
5 men touching the track.
Yeah, and they're trying to see if it's just rubber on the track, if it's just slippy because of that. Remember, this is the big pull section of the track. So when you come out of that zone, this is where you're on full throttle, full angle, leaving the most amount of rubber on the surface, which makes it slippy because you're drifting rubber on rubber, right? So it's slick. Now, it should, in these conditions, be grippy, but it looked like it had the opposite effect for Jack Shannon. So they're having a check of it, and this is because Shannon has said it now. Could be an unforced error, could be the track conditions, could be anything. But they are going to check it because that, of course, is part of the marshal's job. But I can imagine Jack Shannon sitting in that car right now, spinning out on the first corner. He's not going to be happy.
No, he's not going to be happy at all, Dave. And look, there's our safety team down there, the track marshals from the track.
Yeah, I've just got information in my ear that they're saying there's no oil, no fluid, and nothing they can see on the surface that's anything other than just rubber. So
there is a lot of rubber. That where it looks like it's textured, that is actually rubber stuck to the track, and it's about 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters thick, and that's where it's peeling it off and sticking to the tyre, going past it. That's how much rubber it's
because you're on smooth rubber. It's like if you imagine. It's like a bowling lane. You go through there, it's slick because you've got such a smooth surface, which normally would have some porous element or some grip because it's tarmac, but you've sealed all that tarmac with rubber, which is all these drivers. And as we get further in the competition, more rubber, and it's been dry for maybe an hour now, so it's obviously laying more and more through every run. But it looks to me like Jack Shannon got on that rubber and had an issue, so they're having a good look at it now, just to make sure everything is okay. And Jack Shannon's going to be looking across thinking, if they find an issue, then they might blame that issue, but then how do they blame that issue? And it's all very confusing. I think Jack Shannon is probably sitting there feeling disgruntled and also thinking what went wrong.
Yeah, certainly so. So the granules are out, Dave. So is there something down on the circuit? Well, or is this just a precautionary?
Yeah, I'm not sure what, I mean, are they using granules to see if there is? Not sure what the situation is here or where this has come from. But they're going to have a talk with Jack Shannon here. I mean, we're fine now as you're fine now, guys. We have no idea.
We have no idea.
But I mean, it's fascinating to watch. You got to say that probably the most tense Drift Masters events I've ever watched. There's so much going on. we just want to see clean. We've seen some great battles. We've seen some great moments, but there has been some moments of just, I've never seen this before. You know, it's
No,
been
never. No, I've never seen this before. This is so, you know, it's...
Okay, so I think what Martin has said is there is no issue on the track, but then they've put the granules down. I think they've put it down to see if there is, because obviously the granules will stick to any fluids that are there, and it looks to me like those granules are kind of just, yeah, they're not really sticking to anything, are they?
Apart from the rubber.
Apart from the rubber itself. So this is probably just a test to see if something is an issue, and I'm not so sure. I mean, they're taking their time.
Yeah, so let's see what happens here. They're going to put those granules, they're going to run the granules right up to where you can see those tyre marks of Jack Shanahan's car where he put the car into a spin. So they're going to sweep them all the way through. I'm not sure that there is anything down there.
Yeah, initial thoughts was there was nothing there. The marshal said there's nothing there, and then I think what they're doing is putting the granules down to see if it sticks to anything that, you know, it absorbs any liquids.
Yeah.
Just as a test, just to be 100% sure. And that would obviously say that the decision then would come back on the judges, and therefore the judges would be like, we've tested the track, we've had a look at it, and Pontus Hartman must be pumped up right now.
Yeah, he must be.
'Cause he's watched that happen right in front of him.
Yeah, so I've just been told over my headset, Dave, that the race director is actually advised the track staff to put this down to see if it does stick to anything on the surface of the track. If there is anything there, like you say, it will stick to it, it will show it up. If not, it's just going to come back up dry and get blown away. But this is a precautionary method just to see if there is anything down there.
Yeah, and I mean, the Drift Masters technical director has said there isn't. But this is the track inspection. They're having a second look at this just to see if there is something. And again, I think this is probably for their own sake to say, we didn't do anything wrong, the track conditions were perfect. So this is just, they're gonna basically throw it down, they're gonna blow it off, and if anything is still there, they'll say, okay, maybe. But at the moment, I've not heard from, we hear a little chatter from the marshals sometimes in our ear sets if we switch to the channel, and we heard they said there's nothing there, but we're gonna check anyway. So I think this might just be Jack Shanahan. You know, if he said to the marshals, "It's slippy, there's something there," they obviously are obliged then to inspect, right? That's the situation we're in. So hard to know. Never seen it happen before. So again, Finland bringing up a lot of new things. So let's have a little quick look at where we are in the competition. So we've got one semi-finalist right now, which is Duane McKeever. We then go on to, we'll see what happens in the second half of Pontus Hartman, Jack Shanahan, Kevin Pesur, James Deane. Whoa, big one.
Huge.
And Lauri, Heinonen, Benediktas, Čirba, big one.
Interesting, because Pesur and James are both in the top 5 of the championship. Going into Riga, they would both like to still be in the top 5 of the championship. So that's a heavy-hitting battle. That will be like a final, because neither of those guys are going to want to give up. They're going to want the points. James Deane can't complete a whole championship, but he said, look, if he can come in here and upset the apple cart a little bit, then he will do that. And then we move on, as Dave said, to Lauri Heinonen versus Benediktas Čirba for the final battle of our Great 8. That one, again, will be like a final battle. Heinonen, well, he's going to have to pull it all out of the bag for that one, because Čirba is on a flyer, and he'll want to take that one all the way to the podium. So it does look like our track staff are almost done with the cleanup. And you can see it's stuck to the rubber, but I'm not sure if there is any fluid down there. We're waiting to get here from our work.
I've been talking.
Oh, you've been talking? You've been talking to people?
I took a little moment to talk to our head judge, Vernon. So basically, this is the situation. The judges are not in control of this decision. So the judges have said we are judging every run regardless of track conditions.
Okay.
The race director now will inspect this area and make a decision if the track was suitable or not suitable for the run, and they then would make the decision of whether it's a rerun or not because of the track conditions.
Wow.
But it's not in the Drift Masters judges' hands, because they're not on the track and they can't see the conditions. So that's where we're at right now, is that the technical director on the track is going to make that call. I'm going to have a quick word with Kevin O'Connell, who's just stepped on here. Kevin, just said, you know, it's been a really tough day on you guys. It's been a pretty crazy day to be a judge, I guess, but we're just trying to relay the information of what's happening here.
Yeah, you can definitely say that, Dave. It's been an absolutely hectic day here in Finland. Okay, a strange situation here, like I know you said. It's definitely one for to scope through the rule book and see what the decision is going to be. But again, as you relayed there, that's not up to us. It's up to the technical director to make a decision on the track conditions at the time.
Well, there you have it. So Jack Shanahan and Pontus leaving the circuit right now as they are going to just wait and see what the decision is from the technical director. And I'm not sure if they've been relayed that information right now. But yeah, never seen it before. So I mean, this happens.
We've had it once.
We had it
once in Drift Masters history, and that was when we had a flood at Mondello Park at the final in 2019.
2019 flooded the track, and therefore there was a decision to be made to change the line on the track due to water pouring.
Excess water, yeah.
Using cars aquaplaning into the wall. So it can happen. And the rule book is very vast and very extensive. And Ian and I have, we've read the back.
Limited
we've read the back of the DVD box.
We read the guy who wrote it. We read his name and went, oh, okay.
We know enough, but we don't know it all. So they're basically saying that in a case where a track is run independently by a local team, they get the call of whether the track is suitable or not. And I would imagine now they will come back to a decision on that. But we're going to move forward into this battle between James Deane. And I'll tell you what, right now.
So I just want to clarify as well that the director now is, I'm guessing, saying that the track is suitable to run.
It's suitable to run now. So they're going to run it. They're going to come back to a decision on that. And James Deane will line up on the start line. He is going up against Kevin Pesur. This is the one I've been looking forward to. With the aggression from Pesur in that 16 and the aggression from Deane, you can guarantee whatever happens here, this is going to be close. Or it's going to be a lot of rubbing doors, because Kevin Pesur, Rookie of the Year last year, 2023's Rookie of the Year, is coming out swinging this year. He's in the top 5 of the championship.
Yeah.
So he can beat Deane here. Deane's also in the top 5 of the championship. This would be a big statement for Kevin Pesur with the machine. It takes a lot to put him off the rails.
It does, but can Kevin Pesur be the man to derail the train right now? And he doesn't have that proximity on initiation. He needs to lean on Deane a little bit here as Deane goes absolutely ripping through in that inner zone. Oh, contact! Kevin Pesur takes a huge bite.
He's DB to Deane. He's broken an arm on Deane's car, which I think, if Kevin Pesur is deemed at fault for this, the decision is going to be made here and now. We can't even get past the first corner half the time now. This is insane. So, DB to the rear tire on James Deane's car. It looks to me like it might be more than a rear tire DB. It was a pretty heavy hit.
And sorry for the language there of our track marshal. High level stuff going on. High level tension, High level tension. Our track marshal getting a little bit carried away. Look at that. Okay, big dig into the circuit.
So we have official from the judges that the fault of the collision has been deemed the fault of Kevin Pesur. So Kevin Pesur deemed at fault for the click. They're just crashing into each other every run now.
Watch this. Look, Kevin Pesur, look, he didn't have the proximity. I think he messed up the initiation a little bit. Deane got into that outside zone too. Lovely, nice and early. Pesur took a big chunk and bite out of it, dived, and he overtook Deane. And do you know what that done? On the inside here, it put him way too much on the inside. He hit the front wheel on the transition. Game over.
And that's what the judges will say is impeding the lead car from transition.
He was almost overtaking Deane. Sorry,
Dave. On the right. And you know what? He has a choice here. He either
hits Deane,
brakes and loses the proximity, or he slows down and straightens. So he has no choice.
He has no choice.
Deane's hands thrown off the wheel. Look at the eyes.
James Deane's eyes are like...
His eyes were like, I'm heading to the wall very fast.
He's like, wow.
So now we have a recovery on circuit. And
a double recovery.
Double recovery. We've got two cars that cannot leave the circuit.
So I think the dig in the concrete, the tarmac, on the track was something that snapped on Kevin Pesur's car, and it fell down and dug into the ground because they're looking at the front wheel, which means there's an arm or something. Look.
It could be an arm. It could be a bumper bar. The front,
we've seen that before.
Has come down. Kevin Pesur, and there is going to be I'm not sure how. I mean, at the moment, it looks to me like Kevin Pesur or James Deane cannot make it to the start line, which would mean the decision would have to be now, right, from the judges to see who goes through. So if Kevin Pesur is deemed at fault and neither car can make it back to the start line, the decision will be on the track right now. So we're going to go down to the track. We're going down to Becky. Becky, it's just all fireworks out there. Has anybody managed to not crash today? Two that did are Kevin Pesur, and you're with James Deane.
Well, Dave, I mean, I think quite a few people have made it around the track here, but that was an unfortunate moment. I mean, everybody was full tilt right there, but you could see as the transition was made, Kevin Pesur was just too close to you. James, did you feel the hit and then suddenly the tyre was off and you were just flying?
Yeah, so I was really happy with my lead run until that point, even though it's really sketchy conditions still on the first corner. But we managed to keep a nice line, and I could see him up the inside of me. I was just transitioning, and as I transitioned, there was no room. So his car hit my car, DB'd at the tyre, it's after bending a tow arm, maybe some more. So let's get it on the truck and make sure we can get back out for the next battle.
Let's take a quick look at the car, take a look and see what the actual damage is. If we can get a wheel back onto the car, we can get this car moved nice and quick. But give us a little update here.
Yeah, so if somebody can bring me a wheel, I can put it on and drive it in. That would be easier than loading on this. So maybe that's possible. But there's definitely a tow arm bent. Shaft is okay, I still have drive. Strong wheel held up, took a good bang. It's what a wild weekend.
And for all of the people at home, how long does it take to change a bent tow arm or something like that? Because we see a lot of incidents like this in drifting, and it looks quite catastrophic, but you guys are professionals, and this is quite a common incident, I would say?
Yeah, it's quite common. I would say once it's only the tow arm, it will take like 4 or 5 minutes, and that's checking tow and everything. So we have, I think, 10 minutes to fix it, so we can finish the buy run and show that the car can work. So once there's nothing else damaged, I don't want to move it, because if the tire's DB'd and it's gone in so far, if it rotates, it could bust a brake line or something. So that's why I'd love to have a gun and take my wheel off and put a new one on.
I think that's a call to action out there, guys. If anyone could get James Deane a wheel and an impact wrench real quick, that would sort that out. So I'm going to hand it back up to the commentators here. James, we hope you get this fixed.
Yeah, hopefully. And once again, Finnish fans, you're amazing. It's a pleasure to drive here in front of all of you. Thanks for having me. And yeah, we love it here.
All right, guys, there you have it. Back up to you.
Thanks, Becky. And yeah, James Deane, strangely chirpy for a man that's just been hit on the rear and took some damage to the car. But as James Deane says, doesn't really want to move the car by rolling it on the wheel in case that tyre does take a brake line out. That would take more work for the team. And Kevin Pesur, look at that. A little dejected. Car makes his way off the circuit. He's still happy, could still be in the top 5 of the championship after today, but we'll have to take a look at the championship standings once we get that final battle done and we get the results in. So Kevin Pesur exits the circuit. We wait for James Deane's car to get loaded onto the recovery truck and get out of here. And yeah, this is going to be a little bit of an awkward recovery, because as James says, he doesn't want to roll the car on the tyre. The tyre completely DB'd, Dave.
Yeah,
got onto the inside.
A tyre rod or a tow arm also gone on the car.
Yeah.
So here's, I'm trying to talk to the judges in between and get a little bit of information. So what they're saying is it's a war zone out there. So you've got the cars versus the driver, which seems to be a lot of issues. You know, we heard reports that Conor Shanahan clutch failure in his car actually was the reason he went into the first corner. And we've had a couple of shutdowns. We've had a couple of misdemeanors there. However, the judge is saying that because the level of competition has now risen so high and there's so much on the line, everybody is taking risks they wouldn't have taken a year or two ago. They're do or die on every run because the respect they have for the fellow driver, knowing in Kevin Pesur's case that you make one error on this track, you've got to do something sensational to get back in the battle, and that puts you in an uncomfortable position, and that can put you in a collision. So what we're watching here is guys overdrive to a certain extent, knowing what's on the line, but also knowing how good their opponent is. And this is what happens at top level. You know, it's a, you know, you look at Kevin Pesur, he's going up, he's a rookie last year, he's going up against James Deane, he's in the top 5 of the championship. Deane is breathing down his neck in the championship. He makes a little error on the entry, and then he tries to get back into it, but he gets pinched on the inside. Very easy mistake to make, because he knows if I let him go now, I'm out of the battle.
Exactly.
So he has to make a move. Now, the move he makes, unfortunately, causes the collision. However, James Deane even said himself, I mean, this is a track where it's amazing when it goes right, and it goes wrong in an instant.
It can go wrong in an instant, and it was proven right there. It looked like those two guys were going to
I don't think
I've
ever seen a top 32 to 16 like this, where we've had so many incidents. But that must just be the level we're at now, that it's just knife edge. So Jack Shanahan and Pontus Hartman are out on track, so we're going to get some information on this one, Ian.
Right, sorry, Dave, I disappeared there. Talk to the guys behind the scenes. Right, you're seeing Jack Shanahan and Pontus Hartman warming tyres back up on their cars. And you're probably wondering, well, is it a buy run? Is it a one more time? Is it the second half of the run? No, ladies and gentlemen, we are being told that they are going to completely rerun the battle.
So reports back from the track, from the technical director here, who is in charge of the surface of the track, saying there was something on the track that they discovered when they put the granules down during the Shanahan and battle between Pontus Hartman. So the spin from Jack Shanahan deemed a fault of the surface. So, you know, we're just passing the information up here. But I will tell you right now, Jack Shanahan is like, I don't know what's going on or how it's, I've never seen so much. I mean, the rule book, the pages must be creased at this point from how many times we've gone through it.
I think they've caught on fire where they're going back and forth so quick.
Jack Shanahan and Pontus Hartman looking at James Deane leaving the track on a recovery truck in front of them. Now go back to the start. And Pontus Hartman not pleased with this decision, I can imagine, because obviously now he's back in the fight. How does that mentally play for Pontus Hartman here? Because he thought he had the job done. Now he's got to go at it again. So it swings and roundabouts here today.
Well, he has to reset and go again, Dave, and that's the only way you can do it as a driver. Clear your mind, go back again. This is a clean, fresh battle. They're off the line. Shanahan fires in. Pontus Hartman will be angry this time. Shanahan will want it. He'll be hungry for it. Pontus Hartman gives him some room to manoeuvre. He doesn't want to get too close this time. Hartman keeps it clean. Jack Shanahan makes it through that second outside zone. Now Hartman wants to hunt down the side of Shanahan's 86 as they come firing down the hill. Hartman puts it into a spin to avoid contact.
And it could go so easily from one way to the other here. And Pontus Hartman, I mean, you could tell he lost a little bit of ground in the midsection. Jack Shanahan having no such issues on that run. And Hartman...
Oh, he's got the front tyre's flat.
Yes, he's got a puncture. Hartman's got a puncture on the front of the car. So that would put him out of competition right from one way to the other here. Now remember, the Finnish marshals on the track making the call that the track was unsuitable on that run, putting Jack Shanahan back in again, neither driver knowing what's going on, and then all of a sudden Hartman loses ground on Shanahan through the midsection. Does he have a puncture early on, or does that come from the spin off the track? That's the question. He's firing through, he goes on the brakes. Does he hit Shanahan?
I think it DB'd.
I think it DB'd.
As he went on big lock, it DB'd.
Just on the far side of the car, really tough to see. He has to hit the brakes. He's going to hit Shanahan very hard.
I think he hit Shanahan's door. Shanahan's door was buckled.
Yeah, and we got a puncture on the front, a DB'd the front tire off the car, meaning that if he's going to have to forfeit the second run because he cannot compete on a puncture. Oh, it's been just one way and the other today.
Well, decision's in, and it's no fault of Jack Shanahan's, and unfortunately, Pontus Hartman does have to forfeit competition and leave the track, and he is not happy.
He's not going to be happy with that. He thought he'd have to. He thought Shanahan spun on his own, and then, of course, the Finnish track marshal saying the track was unsuitable. They needed to rerun the run, and even Jack Shanahan's not happy with that decision. And again, that shows the sportsmanship there. But again, these are the rules being made, you know, from the guys in charge, from the technical directors, and these are technical directors. You know, the Drift Masters technical director saying the track okay, but the Finnish technical director saying track not okay. So there you go. So it's hard to know. Jack Shannon's got through the first corner. That would be a win for him. So yeah, as I said, you guys are watching it just like we're watching it, and it is absolutely fascinating to watch at the moment because we don't know what's going on. And again, it comes back to these rules and these rule books. I mean, you see it, you can watch Formula One, you'll see all these different rules behind the scenes. The rule book is there all the time. This round is any different than any other. It's just we've never seen the rule book used as frequently as we have in this top 16.
Do you know what, Dave? To be honest with you, I think this season we've seen the rule book come into play more than we have in previous seasons, and I think that's because these guys are pushing so hard now.
Yeah, I think it's getting to the point where, you know, you're on the edge, and we talk about these drivers are always on the edge. Drifting as its very nature is on the edge, but a lot of drivers falling over the edge just because of how difficult the cars are to drive, the tracks are dangerous, and the level of competition is so high. So making it official, going through to the final four is Jack Shanahan. Jack Shanahan goes through to the final four, and it looked like Jack Shanahan and Pontus Hartman not happy with the decision in that one, but Jack Shanahan does go through, and now Benediktas Čirba, who until now has yet to go past the first corner because he had a bye run in the first run. He had a hit with, or a situation with Conor Falvey in the second run, which Falvey went in, broke his radiator. Čirba gets the win, and now he goes up against the hometown hero, Lauri. This is what the fans have been waiting for here in Finland. He's currently leading the championship, but there's a lot of drivers who are in that championship race now into the top four, including Deane, including Duane, sorry, my mistake, and James Deane. So they're both in that top five. So Lauri, if he wants to get the business done here, he's going to need the fans to feed the energy. Benediktas Čirba not having a smooth day so far, but if he beats Lauri, he's got every chance to win it here. Oh, I don't know what's going on.
I just don't even know anymore, Dave.
It is all over the place, which I feel, to be honest, you think you've seen it all, you think it's going to be predictable, and once again, Drift Masters, it delivers all of the drama here as we go into another top 8 battle.
Well, our start line marshal, Marcin, checks over the back end of Lauri Heinenen's car, takes a good look around both cars to make sure they are good and safe, ready to run. They get the fist bumps, and Marcin will head back to the start line to give him the thumbs up all around. Čirba sits on the line, untested so far. Lauri Heinonen ready for action. He wants to do it at home in front of his home fans. Can this be the weekend? He stands on the top step of the podium, through the gears they go. Čirba goes wide, goes on the inside, and gets up onto the door, but shuts it down. As Lauri Heinonen fires away.
Same issue in the top 16 for Čirba. Something's wrong with that car on initiation, whether it's cutting out or whatever is happening. Čirba on that first corner, something's up with the car, and it's happened now in 2 battles. And Lauri Heinonen, he's not going to get an easier chance to get into the top 4 than this.
No, certainly not, Dave.
And you know what? I've got to give it to him. He did an absolutely stellar lead run there.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Textbook.
So Čirba throws in. This is exactly what happened the last time. Čirba goes on the power, Heinonen goes to the wall, and Čirba's car just completely cuts off. So I'm not sure that issue, whatever, they must have had a look at it, thought it was fixed, and then it's not.
Well,
it's a gremlin. That's
yeah, there is. There's something that keeps coming and going. Well, we're getting word in the ears that Benediktas Čirba is throwing his arms up saying X. He is out of competition. He doesn't deem the car safe to run and doesn't want to risk it, especially with Lauri Heinonen behind him.
Yeah, something up. And I mean, that's the car shut down in the 16, the car shut down in the 8, and Benediktas Čirba just not getting a fair chance here. And the Lithuanian driver, we wanted to see him on full kill. Like, we know how good he is. We know how amazing he is. I mean, he could take down Lauri Heinonen. He's got that level of talent. But with the car breaking down, especially with some of these drivers making such a long journey to Finland, and look at that, he's just dejected leaving the car. And you got to feel for Benediktas Čirba here, because that's not how he wanted to go out.
No, certainly not, Dave. And no driver wants to go out with mechanical failure. And they want to battle to the end. And he gets out the car. He goes over to Lauri Heinonen to shake his hand and say, look, I wish I could battle you. I wish we could do it in front of the crowd. But unfortunately, the car just won't let me do it.
I'll tell you what's going to happen here. Benediktas Čirba said, the car cut out. I'm out, Lauri. Then go win the thing. Now go win it in front of your home fans. Go out there and finish the story and get to the top of the podium here in Finland. And now Lauri Heinonen will get, I presume he just has to prove his car is working, right? That's the whole thing he has to do now.
Yeah, so he'll, come on, Dave. Hey, come on.
We know
you
now.
Don't know how a buy run works by now?
Yeah. We've seen a few.
You've seen a couple.
Have we ever seen as many, is the question. So Lauri Heinonen has to initiate into the first corner. If he does, he will go into the final 4 against James the Machine Deane in Finland. Heinonen versus Deane in front of the Finnish fans, and Čirba waves on to the grandstand, and I've got a feel for Benediktas Čirba here. Just not getting a fair chance.
I just feel like it's so much potential at round 1. Unfortunately, throughout the rest of the year, the car's starting to feel the pressure.
So we're getting word from our Starline Marshal that Lauri Heinonen will just initiate. He's going to save the car.
He's a clever man.
He needs all the car. And he's going to roll into that pit. He's going to take a look across at James Deane's pit area and say, well, they're working hard, because Deane's car is not 100%.
Well, there we go. Look, he's initiating, gets that car right to the edge of the circuit, fulfills that second. And I mean, this guy is on rails, Dave.
I mean, on any given day, you sit there and you say, James Deane in the top 4. You know, it's going to be against anybody. But on this day, with this crowd in this place, Lauri Heinenen's going to believe. He's going to believe that he can take down James Deane in that top 4, and that is only one of our semi-finals. And then on the other side, you've got 2 guys that have been battling for about 8 years everywhere across Ireland, Europe, and the UK. It will be Jack Shanahan and Duane McKeever. So we've got 2 big semi-finals coming up, and we'll make it official as going through to the top 4 on home soil will be Lauri Heinonen. Lauri Heinonen goes up against James Deane in the top 4. And it's been messy, it's been ups, it's been downs, we've had crashes, mechanical failures, the rule book has every page turned, but now we have 4 drivers remaining, and as you can see, Deane's team frantically trying to get that car back together. Oh, and it's taking some damage.
Yeah, he's taken a lot of damage, Dave.
And there is the Shanahan team, John Shanahan, Conor and Jack's dad, fixing James Deane's car, or helping out. So it goes to show everybody jumping in behind the scenes to get everybody back into competition. You can't take your eyes off it for a minute.
You can't take your eyes off it for a minute. Look at James Deane, cool, calm and collected. Just taking a quick look to make sure everything's going to plan.
He's got that face, though. He's got that face of like, how bad is it? Because it was a heavy hit from Kevin Pesur. So the car jacked up in the hot pit area. You can see Torren and Kvia having a conversation with James Deane. Torren and Kvia, who was beaten by James Deane, now up helping out.
Wait, hold on a minute. I've written James Deane down here as a winner, which technically he is. But James Deane won't be able to battle Lauri Heinonen for a spot in the final if he doesn't get his car fixed in the next 5 minutes and 56 seconds. How did we forget?
Oh, he hasn't finished the second
He
half of the
hasn't
battle.
finished the bye run.
So James Deane has to get that car back on the line within the allocated time. I was looking at the clock going, what have they got a clock there for? They've got a clock there because he has to initiate to show his car is mechanically able to compete. He gets the win either way, but he won't be able to move forward in competition if his car isn't proved to be mechanically able, which means he has to initiate the first corner to get to the battle with Lauri Heinonen.
That's why there's a panic.
That's why there was a worried face. That's why there was a grimace on the face of James Deane, because it's not over yet. Oh, he can't keep up with it.
But the wheel's going on, so it looks like they are going to get that car repaired and back out on circuit, and he does have to complete that bye run. I see
insane.
the countdown clock, and I thought, hey, hold on a minute. We've missed a massive factor here in this battle.
James Deane, I think he's confident they're going to get that car back together, but how good or bad it is.
We just need to straighten the wheel here. Can I straighten that, Chris? Yeah.
So we're just listening in.
Yeah, we're having a little listen in.
So checking alignment, I think, is what they're going to do.
That's what they're going to do next. Yeah, they're going to check the rear alignment, and then James Deane. Yeah, and we can't move on until the final four until we get this bye run done, Dave.
Oh, and you can see there, John Shanahan, neighbours with James Deane. The Shanahans and Deanes only half a kilometre from each other in Ireland. And this is just, I've never seen an event with this much drama. I mean, I guarantee you, the internet's going to be alive with the sound of comments, because there's so many rules, so many things have happened, and this is the sport. You know, it's a sport at the end of the day. That's the way every sport is.
And if it wasn't controversial, it wouldn't be a judge sport.
Exactly. And if you don't accept the judges, and I suppose now we see the technical director's decisions, it's hard to say you're a fan. Here we go. So Jack Shanahan and Pontus Hartman. Team Jack Shanahan gets the win. He goes forward. We know it's going to be McKeever and Shanahan in that top four. Lauri Heinen's in. James Deane's still alive, but just on the clock right now. And it was Čirba and Pesur that were the casualties in the top 8. And you see Conor Shanahan out as well. Clutch failure in his car for the 23 champion. So we now have 3 of our final 4. One of them is Finnish. He's definitely going to be the fan favourite going in here. And he's also probably going in, I think, with the form. You know, he's going in there with the form. He's looking pretty strong.
Hey, look, I'm going to say he's going in there looking like no one's hit his car. He hasn't had an accident. He hasn't spun out. There's been no problems. He's just looked rock steady every single run of the...
So Deane has to go in and initiate. Then he has to go back in, get the car properly set up, and then go out against Lauri Heinonen. Then we'll jump forward to the first semi-final, which will be Duane McKeever and Jack Shanahan. I mean, you couldn't write this stuff. It's absolutely
bananas.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. Drifting. Remember, it's a sport. It's an entertainment product. That is what it's all about. It's meant to make you happy, make you sad, make you angry. It's meant to do that, because that's what sport does. And if you care about a sport, you're always going to be emotional, whether you're in this driver's seat, you're at home watching, or you're here like us in the tower. We have our opinions.
Yep.
People disagree with us, and that's part of it too.
Of course, and everyone's due to their opinion. You know, we have 3 judges who give their opinion on the sport. So everyone's due, you know, can have their opinion, and that's what it's all about. That's why I love this sport so much, because everyone's always got their own view on what they think
and I mean,
could
for
happen.
me, it's always about how unpredictable it can be.
Yes.
You know, I'm a long time in this game, and I've watched a lot of drifting. In fact, I've watched every single Driftmasters run for 5 or 6 years, and I still see new stuff every time we go out there. This again, watch Kevin Pesur. Deane goes right to the outside line. Pesur's on that inside line, and he's doing a good job, but he gets pinched. He stays in too late here, and then as he transitions back, he's nowhere to go. He's going to need to handbrake, strain, or whatever, and he just takes a big chunk out of the back of James Deane's car. That was a pretty straightforward decision for the judges, but for James Deane, getting that car back out there is anything but straightforward. A lot of damage done.
That's a big hit.
And you know what? I'm looking at James Deane going, he could have been sent into those concrete blocks straight ahead of him there, and that would have been the front and the rear of the car. He still had to get himself out of trouble, and the clock is ticking down, Ian. 1 minute, 46 seconds for James. He's getting in the car, though. Good sign, but, they're trying to look at the bodywork on the car and say, what do they do? How do they... I mean, everything's wrecked. All the back ends of the cars are absolutely destroyed here in Finland. And this is just round 3. There's another 3 rounds to go. The sun now starts to peek through
the clouds.
to get to the top 4. The Finnish fans have been anxiously waiting for some drifting for a while. But again, everyone's glued to the screens here in attendance, and I'm sure you guys are at home, because it's such drama.
That's fine, no, that's fine.
So there we go. They're removing some zip ties. It pushed the bumper across, and it was rubbing on the wheel. It looks like James Deane is ready to go. There's only probably a few seconds left on the clock, and the team done a good job.
Yeah, but he's in the hot pit, which means he's just beside the start line, which gives him that extra little bit of time, which is what a lot of the teams do. They move their tyres and their basic tools right beside the circuit. And James Deane comes back onto the circuit, got the car fixed in time. We're hearing he will be able to do this by run, and all he's got to do is initiate the first corner. Then he sets up the semi-final of all semi-finals against Lauri Heinonen. The best in the business and the best from Finland go head-to-head in the top 4 if Deane can just pull a handbrake, which I'm pretty sure, after 16 to 17 years of competing, we'll assume that if that car is working and if it even has 3 wheels, he'll get in through that first corner.
Well, there we go. He warms up the tyres on the back of that S15 and pulls to the line, obviously in the chase position, but there isn't a lead car to follow him because Kevin Pesur now sits in the pits re-evaluating this round, reassessing the situation.
Still good points for the championship from Kevin Pesur.
Still
top
good
8,
points.
It's very good. You know what I mean? He's back in business. He's not
the
out
only
of the mix
good
yet.
thing right now, sorry Dave, for Kevin Pesur is that everyone else who has now advanced is in that 5 fight with him. So he might still be in the top 5. So James Deane, they're going to go for a big initiation, flicks the car in.
Yeah, that's him through. That's official. And I'm just thinking, you know, looking at all these Excel sheets we have around us, Ian, could James Deane, if he won this event, be in the top 3 of the championship and he wasn't even at round 1? Imagine, he missed a round, clash of an event in the USA, came back, was only going to do a couple of appearances this year, but if he goes top 3 in the championship, it'd be hard to miss a few rounds then, wouldn't it?
I've got a speculation even better than that for you, Dave.
I love a good speculation.
I think, well, let's make this one official first of all. There we go. Arrow slide left for James Deane. He does get the win, goes through, goes back to the paddock, and they'll get that car checked out as we get cars back down the back of the grid warming tyres. I've got a big speculation for you. James Deane, currently in the top 5 of the championship, now goes into the final 4. If he wins this, could he be second in the championship?
Well, we're going to find out at the end, but it's a lot to go on between now and then, and we've got a podium to sort out. We've got 4 drivers remaining. We've been through all the action and all the stories this weekend. It's time to head to the top 4. Here we go, Jack Shanahan, Duane McKeever. Well, they've battled each other over UK championships. They've battled each other over Irish championship. They both have a lot of silverware, and they've met in many, many finals. But they come into this battle with McKeever as the favourite, higher in the championship. And he's got Lauri Heinonen in his sights. He's got James Deane in his sights, Jack Shanahan, to get back up into the top 10. There's a lot riding on this one. They know each other's driving styles. They've travelled together. They're good friends behind the scenes. But that's going to all change in the next 5 minutes, as both know they need to win this battle to get to the final. McKeever with the RB, Shanahan with the 2J. North and south of Ireland go head-to-head here in Finland as Jack Shanahan leads out McKeever.
Yeah, through the gears. McKeever goes for a big swing across the circuit. He's going to dive across into outside zone 2, and Shanahan's on that deep line. Wheel on the wall as he fires through, disposes of the tail light. McKeever now goes for a dive on the inside, hops over the curb and trusts Shanahan onto that wall run. They fire down with incredible pace into these outside zones, and McKeever goes for a brave one. He knows he needs to be on the door across the line.
Whoa! That is a big run. After a pretty long lull, we've had an amazing top 4 battle, which is what we came here to see, what the Finnish fans came here to see. They threw it all on that one.
Oh, that was incredible, Dave. And the McKeever, very clever driving. You can see the way he shortcut from the initiation to outside zone 2, got onto the door and just stuck it to Jack Shanahan the whole way round that outside zone, and then made some really clever moves, some early transitions, some early dives. And look at that through the smoke. He trusted Shanahan.
You got to say, great lead run, great chase run.
Yeah.
What you expect from a top 4 battle. Who's going to have the X factor? Who's going to have that extra piece of magic to get themselves into the final? Or are we going to see this one go one more time? Right now, McKeever's thrown the kitchen sink and the cabinets and the fridge at Jack Shanahan. And Jack Shanahan, again, I think his mindset right now is he's driving angry. Yeah. And an angry Shanahan can be a good or a bad thing. But for Duane McKeever, it might mean he might have no doors at the end of this one. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Look at this. Shanahan down, looks for the back bumper, fires it in, but doesn't shortcut the circuit, keeps within that proximity. Duane McKeever on that wide line. Shanahan now starts to gain on him, starts to push as he transitions through. Shanahan onto the back bumper as McKeever fires down, goes super wide, just what the judges wanted to see, and Shanahan comes through the smoke. He needs to be on that front wheel and he stalls up.
Oh, I was just about to say, Shanahan with better proximity until that last corner. And it's such an interesting track because you think it's all in the bag, and that last corner can divide so many battles.
That banked corner, the amount of grip up there, it could slow a car so quick.
Gotta say, McKeever's lead line here is absolutely unbelievable through the first corner, but Shanahan stays right there with him. And as McKeever transitions back, look at this, lots of pace, gets there early to the outside zone, completes it, but Shanahan right there with him. There is nothing in this one. Oh, I'd hate to be a judge. And just here, Shanahan goes on throttle, has to hit the brakes. He's going to hit McKeever, so he has to stall up just a bit. Gets very close and has to back off just a little bit, but it's just a little bit. We're clutching at very small margins here. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yep, that's one where, you know, sometimes we get a little feeling. I'm not sure what the feeling is.
I'm not sure what the feeling is there, Dave. No, that's so close between both of them. Jack had a nice lead line. Duane had a nice lead line. Did Duane have more proximity than Jack?
I think, look, I'll be honest, I don't think either driver here is going to know. And we're going to find out from the judges of who will go through to. This is for the final.
This is for
a guaranteed trophy at the end of this one. Someone's going to the final. Who's it going to be? It's Duane McKeever. Duane McKeever gets the win and goes to the final. And Duane McKeever, I've just got to say it, back-to-back finals for Duane McKeever in Ireland and in Finland. And you know what? He's going to be right up there with Lauri Heinonen at the end when it's all said and done in the championship regardless. But who's he going to meet in that final? Will he get revenge against James Deane? Or will he go up against the hometown favourite and championship leader Lauri Heinonen? Either way, I'm excited. Doesn't matter. It's all lining up really nicely here. But it's the next one for me.
It's the next one.
This is where Lauri Heinonen, I mean, everybody here believes. Lauri Heinonen believes. But
the place has gone silent.
If you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And he's going up against the best right now. So James Deane, on paper, there's no argument, there's no question. The best of all time. But is it his time? Is it Lauri Heinenen's time? Is it his time to step up and show the world that he can beat the best? And if you're another driver in this championship and you see Lauri Heinonen take down James Deane, then you're going to believe that this guy is not going to lose to anyone this year. This is a huge battle. It may just be the semi-final, but there's a lot more on the line when it comes to bravado, when it comes to ego, when it comes to history. And Heinonen has 11,000 fans in his corner here. This is a huge, huge battle for Finland, for Drift Masters, for Heinonen, and for Deane. And they're on their feet.
They're on their feet.
Everybody's
Dave.
on their feet for Lauri Heinonen. And Heinonen is going to have to throw absolutely everything at this.
I've got goosebumps.
This is a big one. And this is why you watch drifting. This is for moments like this, when you know what's on the line, when you know how big it is. And Heinonen is the higher qualifier. He's out-qualified James Deane, and Deane's got to reach deep. He's got to go for it here, because Deane is that good. We know he's that good, but he's not going to have a safe run here. He's going to have to prove it here. This is a huge battle. Heinonen looks focused. Deane taking deep breaths. He knows what this one means. And this is for a spot in the final here in Finland. Off the line they go.
Oh, Shanahan, look at this, through the gears, and he's staring down as Lauri Heinonen fires it across the circuit. Deane knows he can't let him get away, and he hasn't. He's pinned it to the front wheel. He loses a little bit of ground as Lauri Heinonen opens up the throttle, but then he gains it back. Deane hunting down the Finnish driver. Heinonen goes deep on the outside zone, but there's no shaking. James Deane, they come over the hill, and Deane's closer than anyone, but he almost over-rotates and gives him that ground to drive away.
Oh, it's so close. That was absolutely everything Lauri Heinonen and James Deane had there. And Deane, I thought he was gone. I thought Deane was gone, but he kept in it. Oh, the experience, the talent to get back on it again. Heinenen's lead run, masterclass. The chase run, masterclass. But there was a moment.
There was a moment.
Just towards the end, when it nearly all came undone. Watch this as they come through. Heinonen on some pace through the center of the section.
That
there.
car is
That is so fast, but it's here. When they transition, Deane goes for the big dive, and
Look
he
at
has
the
to hit
angle.
the front brake. Heinenen's on big angle. Deane almost over-rotates it, and I don't know how he holds it and gets back into business again. That is experience. Look at the grimace on his face, the concentration. Deane goes up against Heinonen now. There's a moment, there's a kink in the armor for James. A little chink in the armor. Finland are starting to believe here. Heinenen's got to go for it. He's got to throw everything at this one.
Oh, he's smoking tires off the line already. And look at Heinonen, he's hunting down James Deane. He's always said that he wants to beat James Deane. He wants to prove he's the best. He wants to win around, and to do it right here in Finland and take down Deane at the same time would mean the world to the young strong finish, man. And right now he looks stronger than ever. Oh, he's clever driving. Can he get back on the door? Of course he can. Lauri Heinonen is world class.
Wow, that is unbelievable. The angle Deane pulled down the hill, and Lauri Heinonen had to react.
He just dealt with it.
He had to react, but he lost a little bit of ground, and it's just so hard to know what way the judges will go. But this is just top-tier drifting wherever you're from in the world. This is as good as it gets.
Lauri Heinonen, for me, Dave, personally, had a better lead, and the proximity was better. He was closer than Deane. He didn't let Deane escape 1 inch. Deane was shallow on outside zone 2. Heinonen was buried in the wall. Okay, he lost a little ground here, but Deane did the same trick. He said, you want to see angle, buddy? Watch this. He fires it on, but watch Heinonen. And he says, yeah, but I'll get back on the door.
But he gets lost a little in the smoke, Heinonen.
But look at this, he's back on it.
Both drivers had a bit of separation there. We gotta be
We're
saying
having a
it.
fist fight in the commentary tower.
I'm just saying, both drivers having a little error in the same place. Oh, as the pyro goes up, the fans are on their feet. This could be a historic decision.
If this goes to Heinonen, the whole place will erupt.
But you gotta say, Deane doesn't make any errors really on both runs.
Listen, let's go back to what the judges said. Lead to lead.
Chase to chase, but I don't think...
I think the lead was better.
I don't know. To me, a little bit more proximity from Deane through the center section. Just saying. But I'm not saying that's a win or a lose.
No.
I'm just saying I could see both sides of the coin here.
100%.
There is such good driving in there. The fans are going absolutely bananas. The crowd, the place is hopping right now. I only wish you could be here to experience
11,000
the goosebumps.
fans.
11,000 screaming in Finland. And now they go silent because the decision has to come in. And I don't know which way this one's going in, I'm going to be honest. No idea. There's not much. It could be one more time. Could very easily be one more time. Could easily go either way. Judges breaking down the replays. They get to watch it both ways. They've got more camera angles than we have. They've been in the briefings more than we have. I don't know. It's for a spot in the final. Duane McKeever's in there. Who's going up against him? We got one top 3 competitor in the championship in the final. Oh, and look at this. It means a lot to both drivers here. Heinonen and James Deane, nervous smiles. The decision is in, and going to the final is... Lauri Heinonen! Wow! Lauri Heinonen goes to the final, and Finland, well, they've almost upturned the grandstands. Lauri Heinen's beat James Deane in Finland. I'm saying it out loud. What a moment for the sport.
What a driver. And you know what? James Deane smiled and he congratulated him because he knew Lauri Heinenen's on his day. He's on his game.
It's blown the roof off Finland here as Lauri Heinonen goes to the final. And you got to say, win or lose in the final, you know, beat James Deane on any day. And I'm going to give James Deane the credit he deserves.
Oh, 100%.
Beating James Deane, and not many have done it.
Nope.
Not in Europe. That is almost as good as a final. And now you got to say it. We've got to go down to Becky. Lauri, the place has come off. Becky, he must be over the moon. What a win over James Deane.
Dave, Lauri just told me that he doesn't have many words right now, so I'm going to keep it very short. Lauri, are you happy right now?
I'm so happy.
That was an incredible run. The transition at 90 degrees was unbelievable. Was it difficult?
No, it was such fun driving with James. You can trust his driving, and I think we have quite a similar style and similar cars. So yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Can you hear this crowd shouting for you right now when you're in that car?
No, unfortunately not, but the guys always tell me that it's off the hook.
See something for your fans in Finnish right now.
Kiitos kaikille, ihan älytöntä. Nyt mennään finaaliin.
Well, there you have it. Lauri Heinonen into the final. Congratulations.
Thanks, Becky. I think the emotions are running wild everywhere. I mean, Ian, you and I, we watch the sport as fans.
Oh, man.
We love this sport. And after so many years of watching it, we're still here with goosebumps on our arms, watching history being made. And I don't care what you think about drifting. You've got to be positive about it, because if you're being negative, what more do you want? The drama, the crashes, the heroes being made every single round. You want a heart of stone to look at this from a negative perspective, because right now, Lauri Heinonen, first in the championship, goes up against Duane McKeever. I'm not even sure. Duane McKeever could be second in the championship right now. I have no idea.
I think he's second in the championship right now.
So 1 and 2 in the championship, and we're going to speculate that because we are not mathematicians, are now going to go head-to-head in the final. Lauri Heinonen, the dream to finish the story, to win his home event, would have to go up against Duane McKeever, who was robbed of the final in Ireland with a gearbox failure. Does he redeem himself here? oh, it's just lined up beautifully. And after so much messing around in the top 32 and 16, we are down to an amazing finish. And you know what, and I mean all the pun intended. So we are going to head towards the last battle of the day. And I'll tell you what, it's been pretty special so far, Ian.
Yeah, look at this. And this is Duane McKeever. This is his road to the final, Dave. This is how he made his way through competition. He took down Ite Sada, but it wasn't an easy battle. This guy's been tested all day. We don't think about all the other drivers that have had incidences, crashes. He has had to drive the wheels off that car all day.
Yeah, and I've got to say, you know, McKeever not making major errors either.
No.
Looking fairly comfortable, especially in the dry. Looking very comfortable, and we know that if we were to pick out two of the fastest drivers on the grid, it'd be Heinonen and it'd be McKeever.
Yeah.
They're the two fastest, in my opinion. And again, look at this clutch failure for Conor Shanahan on initiation. And look, it just wasn't the day the Shanahans wanted either way. And I tell you what, McKeever now goes through to that final, and he's got to be thinking about Ireland. He's got to be thinking about that final with James Deane, where he just couldn't get the car into gear.
But then you've got to think on the other side of it, Dave. Lauri Heinonen has never won a round of Drift Masters.
Yeah, Duane McKeever's won too.
Lauri Heinonen has always been the bridesmaid, and he said to me last year in the PGE Narodovway, you can't win a championship without winning an event.
That's very true.
And I'll tell you what a way to do it this weekend.
Well, Lauri Heinonen, his entire last 2 years have been second place.
Bridesmaid.
Second place, second place, third place, second in the championship. He has never topped the final. Well, let's look at this. This is his journey there. I mean, the conditions were absolutely atrocious back in the top 32. But Lauri Heinonen made it work. He got through it, and that was the toughest part of the day for all these drivers. And he got through at 32. Top 16, well, this was an interesting one, as it got very, very close, and he was on the ropes a little bit against his fellow Finn driver, Jarkko Jylhä. But then Jylhä makes a big mistake and goes off the track, and that handed, look at this, handed the win to Lauri Heinonen. He goes through, and you can see seal of approval from Jarkko there. Against Čirba, Čirba's car cutting out, just shutting down on the first corner. And you might think, Lauri Heinonen, he hasn't been tested. He's had a bit of a handy run through. Well, he got a big final boss in the top 4. He was up against James Deane, and boy, did he make good use of it.
He did make perfect use of it. Look, that lead line is absolutely flawless. And that could be the one, that could be the thing that gets him through this weekend. Could this be the weekend Lauri Heinonen stands on the top set?
I'll tell you what, we are ready to go. The final is upon us. Let's go to it. It all comes down to who wants the trophy the most, and there's one more left up for grabs. This is the third and fourth playoff, right?
Yep.
Deane against Shanahan. Apprentice versus master. But on a day like today, they're both going to believe they're masters here. And I'll tell you what, two neighbors, one trophy up for grabs, and one of these guys not getting a trophy. That's the harsh part. After all the weather, after all the crashing and all the spins and all the madness, Deane goes up against Shanahan. I can guarantee you, these two friends, these two neighbors, going to put on a show for the fans here. Third step on the podium, up for grabs. Here we go, we're into the finals.
Yeah, here we go, through the gears they go. The third and fourth place up for grabs. Who's going to be third, who's going to be fourth? Deane glued to the side of Shanahan's GT86, but it's a beautiful textbook lead line from Shanahan. Deane on the inside, but he makes it work. That transition almost made no sense from James Deane. As Jack Shanahan fires down to outside zone, Deane's glued to him, but he almost makes the same mistake once again. Now Deane playing catch-up. Oh, and pushes Shanahan across the line.
Slams into Jack Shanahan's door across the line. A little reminder, probably a little smile in the car as well there, just to say, yeah, I'm still there. I'm still in the fight. This was unbelievable through the first corner. Pin to the wall, pin to the door. What more can you ask for in your third and fourth place playoff?
It was that transition.
Yeah, that transition from Deane.
It made no sense.
It was just like, what? That's depth-defying.
Kevin Pesur tried that earlier and smashed James Deane around.
It was a brave one, but I think he knew he could get the run on it. But this, again, Deane hits the bump and the car kind of just goes on too much angle. Loses that little bit of ground, but he gets back into it. And look at this, big dive through. Doesn't even hit the brakes, just use Shanahan as a brake going across the finish line.
Look at the way he creeps in on the slow-mo.
Yeah, it's like, hey, buddy.
Oh, and he's locked up on the front wheels.
Oh. And now we get the second half of another special battle as the sun creeps through the clouds here in Finland. It's fitting to finish off this incredible event. Deane in the lead, Shanahan in the chase.
Here we go through the gears. James Deane fires it across the track. James Deane looks for the outside turn too. Jack Shanahan takes that shallow line, goes for the front wheel, almost overtakes James Deane, but now falls back a little bit, goes for the transition as Deane goes for the wall. Shanahan doesn't let him get away, comes through the smoke, and Deane goes over the bump, doesn't let the car go on too much angle this time, fires it up through the second to last outside zone and across the line.
Oh, just did it look to me like Jack Shanahan just couldn't find the
Couldn't
pace.
find it, couldn't get there.
Couldn't just get up onto the door. He was close on entry. He did everything he could. Looks to me like James Deane as that car turned up to 11.
12.
I say if there is a 12, it's there.
If he's got the knob and it goes to 10, he's turned it more than that.
Yeah, he's got past the numbers. So much speed.
That car is so fast.
Yeah, so much speed through the center section. Shanahan's doing a good job here. There's no mistakes from Jack Shanahan. He's just not right there on the door.
It's always after.
Deane a little shallower there on that transition, but then Jack doesn't catch up at the end. So it's hard to know. Judges will be breaking down every single nuance on that, making sure they make the right call. This is for third step on the podium. Oh, what a day. What a day.
I mean, you could say that. It's been
a day and a half, guys, I'll be honest. We've been up here 3.5 hours. We've been out of breath for 3 hours now. Oh, and the sun beams down now. What even is the weather this year? Who's going to take third step on the podium? Decision is in. James Deane gets it. James Deane gets third step on the podium. Oh, and Jack Shanahan will have to settle for fourth, but I'll tell you what, it looks like he's almost relieved. He said that was a day of absolute war on track, and James Deane, he's had the car on the wall, he's had spins, he's had it been hit from the rear, and he's coming home with a trophy. Third step on the podium for the machine, and all-important championship points in the bag.
Yeah, more championship points in the bag for a man who wasn't even in the championship when we went to round one in Spain, and he celebrates in front of the grandstand, in front of the VIP, and in front of these crazy Finnish fans.
Oh, and they love it. They love to see it. And the great thing about the Finnish fans is they're supporting good driving, not just, I mean, they're obviously supporting Lauri Heinonen more than anybody else, but let's move it along as we've got one more battle to decide, and it's the big one. Let's go to the final. This one is for all the marbles. Lauri Heinonen, he's never won an event in Drift Masters. Will he win his home event with 11,000 cheering him on? Or will Duane McKeever get redemption from Mondello Park at round 2? Both cars are working. Both drivers are dialed in. It's mono on mono. Finland versus Ireland, the last battle of the day. And they look confident, they look ready, and they look angry because they're ready to slot these cars into gear. It is the final of round 3. Here we go.
Through the gears, down through the start line, and Shanahan, they fire a big angle. I thought he was going to spin. Lauri Heinonen made no sense. Duane McKeever deals with it. As Lauri Heinonen now absolutely nails the throttle through the floor, but there's no shaking. Duane McKeever as he transitions behind Lauri Heinonen down into the second to last outside zone. Heinonen goes for the wall, he gets up on the zone, and Duane has no answer.
Oh, I'll tell you what. There's not much in that.
I thought he was spinning.
I thought Heinonen was going in the wall.
I had no words.
You lost vocabulary, Ian,
what
because look
was
at that. He went 90 degrees to the wall. He hit the zone on the outer side. I mean, McKeever couldn't have expected it. He thought he was going in the wall. I think McKeever goes, he's definitely not going to make this. And when he did, then McKeever started to reel him in. And as they came through the center section, you could see this. The transition was immense for McKeever. Stayed with him the whole way through. Very brave driving from Heinonen. Very brave driving from McKeever. There's nothing in that, Ian. There's nothing in that. Like, look at this, there's good proximity. Here is tough for proximity. We saw most battles struggle here, but McKeever transitions early. Just doesn't get up on the door at the end. That's the only thing I could see. Oh,
that's the only point of the circuit.
I'll tell you what, the goosebumps are up on my arm. The sweat is coming down my brow because this is a stressful one. Heinen's got to pull out some magic here. He's got to go for it. He's got to find something else here against McKeever. And McKeever's got a fast start.
Yeah, he has, and he's gone for it. He's put on a big angle initiation, but can he hang with it? And look at Heinonen, and he's closer than McKeever was. He's onto the door, and he comes through the smoke, and he bounces the curb, and he uses it to push him onto the door of McKeever's S13. And now Heinonen looks once again. Will he get lost? Oh, and he doesn't! He's closer than McKeever! He's on the door!
What is happening right now? Oh, that is as good as you could ever see. in a chase run on a track that nobody could find proximity on. Heinonen found proximity.
Heinonen is a world-class driver. Look at this. From the initiation to the finish line, he was glued to Duane McKeever. He used the curb to bounce the car across the track. It was unbelievable.
I don't think I've ever seen a final quite like that. That much risk.
Watch this. Boom. And you know what? He's in the zone. And he's on the front wheel with the front bumper.
Oh, I mean, we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot in this sport, but today I've seen more than I've ever seen. You could put a whole season into this round.
Oh, without doubt.
That's how much shouting, confusion, crashes, spins, weather,
emotions.
fans, emotions. It's had it all. Look at these scenes on your screens right now. Look at that as the flames fire up a full standing ovation for Duane McKeever and Lauri Heinonen as they head over the finish line. This is ridiculous. There is no words to describe how good this event has ended from such a shaky start. Oh, and nobody's sitting down here, I guarantee you. Nobody is sitting down as the decision will drop in before we head to the podium. Who's won it? Who has won it? Lauri Heinenen's won it! He's won it! No more second places, no more bridesmaids. Heinenen's in the lead of the championship, and he's won his home event, and the emotions are about to pour out of every Finnish fan in this arena. Absolute scenes, Ian. Absolute scenes.
He's done it, Dave. He's done it, and what a way to do it. Lauri Heinonen wins his first ever Drift Masters event here in Finland at his home event in a year where he leads the championship.
And he earned it. He earned every bit of it. He went through Deane and he went through McKeever and he went through them all. And he's done it. He's finally, you know what, leading the championship's one thing, but winning your home event, he'll never forget this moment for the rest of his life. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be an immense finish to this championship. And I'll tell you what, 3 rounds left to go, and we're only starting the story. We're down. Becky is trackside. Becky, Lauri Heinonen, the emotion on that track, the energy must be incredible.
Dave, the energy is just electric down here. I'm giving Lauri just a second to let this sink in. Your first Drift Masters, you're leading the pack, you're at the top of the championship standings. Thank you, Duane, in the background there. Lauri, what is going through your mind right now? This is your first ever win here in front of a home crowd.
Yeah, there is no better place to do this. Like, this is a fairy tale.
A fairy tale indeed. I mean, this puts you in such a good position for the championship.
Yeah, that is just a plus. I just live in the moment. This moment is all I live for.
I absolutely love it. And tonight, are we celebrating with all the Finnish fans that have come to see you? Are you going to be celebrating tonight? I probably think you're going to be.
Yeah, we are going to celebrate.
Fantastic. Lauri, congratulations. Your first ever Drift Masters win, leading the championship. Fantastic.
Unbelievable scenes here in Finland. A fairy tale is exactly.
That's it.
We've had a lot of words all weekend.
And he had the word.
He had the word. It is a fairy tale. Lauri Heinonen wins his home event here in Finland. Oh, Ian, it's had it all. The emotions running wild. And if they're going to celebrate tonight, there'll be 11,000 people celebrating with Lauri Heinonen here in Finland. I'll tell you what, this theme park, talk about an emotional roller coaster. It has been phenomenal.
It has been phenomenal. And here we go. Here is the results list for this round. Lauri Heinonen takes the win in Finland. Duane McKeever finishes second and James Deane in third. Shanahan claws back some points. Conor Shanahan claws back even more points that he lost earlier on in the season. Pesur holds on to a few, and Benediktas Čirba, well, he has had a rough weekend, but he still manages to get a few. And here we go as we tumble down the order. The guys that finished off earlier on today, some upsets, some tears, and some questionable results. Adam LZ was one of those guys that was desperate to hear from the judges. He'll be asking those later on exactly how it went down. Oran Nilsson, a big one, in the top 5 of the championship, finishes 17th this weekend. And then we move it way down the order to the guys that got knocked out in the top 32. Clint Van Ort, Joachim Andersen, Mikkel Reichardt, Josiah Falaise from Canada, making his appearance in top 32 and now starting to believe he can do it here at Drift Masters. So there we go, unbelievable scenes here in Finland as the crowd now starts to invade the track to celebrate with the hometown hero, Lauri Heinonen, who takes the win. They are going to be partying hard tonight. Duane McKeever takes second place. Man, what a weekend. And here we go, let's take a look at the driver standings. Lauri Heinonen leads the championship halfway through and with 246 points. McKeever in third and James Deane jumps from 5th to 3rd with 190. Pesur and Nielsen still in it, but Čirba clawed some back, and look at Jack Shanahan. Now he starts to make the move. He's inside that top 10. What can he do as we go from here to Riga, from Hungary to Poland? It's been an emotional weekend. It's been a roller coaster. Let's take a look at the calendar. Where can you catch us next? Well, let's take a look. Well, we've been to Spain, we've been to Ireland, we're finishing up here in Finland, but we next move to Riga, baby. It's Latvia. The super fast, dangerous technical circuit comes up next before we go to Mariupol in Hungary and Warsaw in Poland for that all big final. Becky, what a weekend. I think I'm done. I don't know about you.
Absolutely, guys. Stick a fork in us. We are done. What an incredible event. I mean, we've had everything. Thrills, spills, we've had weather, and we've had a fairy tale. Lauri Heinonen takes the win, and this is something that he has been waiting for. His first ever Drift Masters win. I am so happy. I mean, look at all these fans. Well, guys, make sure you join us in just a few short weeks' time in August. We're going to be heading to Latvia, where we are going to find out who is going to be our next King of Riga. I don't know about you. I can't wait. But I'm going to need to take a sit down right now. We'll see you very, very soon. All of us, from all of us on Red Bull TV, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.
I run all the way until from there.